Now we travel from Daytona with its colors, sight, and sound to another scene of glory, to another proving ground.
Driver wins the Daytona 250.
He slides, and there's a fight.
Take the world center of racing.
Racing's answer to Heartbreak Hill.
10 years of evolution.
Next step forward.
Toyota Tundra making its way into victory lane.
And drama.
A point leader hits hard into the wall.
Danger.
Oh, look out, we got trouble. This is gonna hurt. Uh-oh, oh my.
And ultimate celebration.
Look at this, the two old rivals.
The Florida Dodge Dealers 250. The crown jewel of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. 5 hold the title. Tonight, it's 10 years tough in 2005. The Great American Truck Race.
What does a man do to turn the automobile you and I drive into a racing stock car?
Welcome to the Mecca of motorsports for the start of 10 Years Tough, the 10th anniversary season. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is presented by Craftsman. The list of possible winners for this race is long and illustrious. There's former champions and race winners. Kerry Earnhardt would like to throw his name in the mix, even after a rough start here in Daytona. In the first truck practice on Wednesday, Kerry Earnhardt didn't quite clear the 62 of Steve Martin, and 4 teams had to bring out backup trucks, including Kerry. Going out 37th to qualify, Earnhardt's number 15 Chevrolet knocked Dennis Setzer out of the top spot to claim the first Bud Pole Award of the season. Ray Dunlap has caught up with our pole sitter.
Well, when you look in the record books here at Daytona, you see one name. Of course, it's Earnhardt. Dale Earnhardt Sr. has 34 victories here at the Big D, and this guy's little brother has 9 of them. You don't have a victory yet, but guess what? You're in the record books with a pole in your very first Craftsman Truck Series start. How did you do it?
Just mashed the gas. This just goes to show what Billy Blue Motorsports, Richie Waters, put together. And it was easy for me to take the number 15 Kraft Chevrolet Silverado back to the front.
Okay, we hope it's just as easy for you to stay up there. This guy will start at the very front of the pack, but there's one face you wouldn't expect to be way in the back.
And that is our reigning champ, Bobby Hamilton. He'll be running the number 04 for part of 05 season, and that's to guarantee 2 trucks to make the field for this season. Bobby, you start 36th, last truck. How important is it to make your way up front, and how many laps will it take you?
Well, I hope it's not real important. I talked to the Bailey's Dodge, the Easy Care Dodge, and also the Federated Auto Parts Dodge, and I told them they better get with the WIS Pro Series Dodge, and we better stay back here out of the way, and I think Musgrave's going to join in with us and maybe a couple more. The racetrack's got a lot of grip right now. There's a lot of aero-loose trucks, and I just don't think it's very important at this point to drive up through there right now.
This is a winning truck, folks. It's called Freak, and it's won twice at Daytona with Joe Ruttman and Robert Presley. Rick?
Unbelievable crowd for the 10th anniversary season being kicked off, about to be underway, and we're expecting another great year. Crowd's always impressive when you come to Daytona International Speedway. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pre-race show is brought to you by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Speed Weeks continues to build up to a crescendo at the weekend, and it starts right here with the Florida Dodge Dealers 250. The crowd ready for a great show. The 2005 season kicks off with the Florida Dodge Dealers 250. The pre-race activities are going on, so let's join in with the invocation and
Ladies and
national
gentlemen,
anthem.
at this time, please rise and remove your hats as the Daytona Beach Police Department present our nation's colors. And now, please welcome Dr. Tim McNeil as he delivers tonight's invocation.
Let us pray. We celebrate tonight, oh God, the spirit of America, of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We pray for these who are ambassadors of speed. Grant to them care, competence, and confidence. And grant to us, as we race the race before us, enable us to build bridges into the future of hope, promise, and possibility. Shalom and amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and welcome Star Search semifinalist Tierney Allen as she performs our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Drivers will be climbing into their trucks. The green flag for the first race of the season is moments away. We'll start the engines when we come back. Welcome to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Florida Dodge Dealers 250 on Speed Channel. 10 years of breathtaking racing have taken place in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Welcome for year 11 for the Truck Series. I'm Rick Allen, joined by Michael Waltrip, two-time Daytona 500 winner Michael Waltrip, and Phil Parsons. Now, Phil, we've had 10 great years of racing. What can we expect in race year 11?
Rick, I think last year was the most competitive year in the history of the Craftsman Truck Series. This year is going to be even more competitive. You've got former Nextel Cup regulars like Jimmy Spencer, Johnny Benson, Ricky Craven, Ty Bodine, all going to run full-time, along with two-time champion Ron Hornaday. The action is going to be terrific all the way to the last race at Homestead, Florida. But what better place to kick off this series this year than here at Daytona, Michael?
Well, you talk about competition, Phil, and it is intense, but this place sucks truck together. Every truck you see will be running tightly in a pack. The draft, something you can't even see, air off the other trucks, is going to have the most important effect on this race tonight. When these trucks are drafting, they're loose, they're unstable. We've already heard series champion Bobby Hamilton say, we give. We're going to be at the back for a while and let these guys sort this stuff out. When these trucks go to racing, it's going to be something unlike you've ever seen before, and we're going to show you here on Speed. Chill out, try to breathe a little bit, because you won't be able to when they start racing.
Well, a third of the entries are Nextel Cup veterans, and so we've got a lot of experience that's in this field tonight, and one of those that's one of the most experienced is Ricky Craven, and he's a part of that list as well. Steve Park, Jimmy Spencer, Johnny Benson as well. Ray?
Well, guys, I think this is a truck to watch. The chassis is number 23. The truck number is 99. Ricky Craven was chosen by this man right there, Jack Roush, and he said, this is the guy we believe that can win us a championship. Ricky Craven starts 26 today, but I don't believe it'll be too long before you'll see this Super Chips Ford work its way to the front. Wendy?
driver Casey Kane had a 2-race win streak the final 2 races of the 2004 season. In 2005, Jimmy Spencer steps into the 2 truck for Ultra Motorsports. Now, he's had a little bit of problems this week. Yesterday, it was a throttle linkage problem during his qualifying run. The team made those changes, got it fixed. Now he's waiting on his helmet. A little bit anxious, Jimmy Spencer, no helmet. Now let's get this thing started.
Drivers, start your engines.
New York Jets cornerback Donnie Abram giving the command. The engines are started. And we're about to get underway with another great event at Daytona International Speedway. We've seen great ones in the past. A lot of adrenaline in these drivers. The winners from Joe Ruttman, Mike Wallace, Robert Presley, some of the greats in the Truck Series. And Robert Presley's back in this field tonight. We'll see if we add a 6th winner tonight in Daytona. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Florida Dodge Dealers 250 on Speed Channels, brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And by Netscape, low-cost internet service. Netscape, just the net you need. "36 trucks wanting to get out onto this 2.5-mile tri-oval for the first race of the season. And Michael, who knows better Daytona International Speedway than you, 2-time 500 winner?
Well, this track's a lot of fun to drive on, and these trucks will draft more than any other vehicles that race here at Daytona. The length of the track is 2.5 miles. The degree of banking in the corners is 31 degrees. You come through this tri-oval, the truck wants to loosen up a little bit. It could get hairy coming through the tri-oval, all these trucks drafting off one another. You'll see most of your passing as they exit turn 4 and use this tri-oval to try to position themselves around each other.
Let's take a look at the Craftsman race analysis. 36 trucks starting, 100 laps, 250 miles. The purse is a little over $800,000. The pit window is about 32 to 38 laps. Now that's assuming we're going to go green all the way. Not one person in the garage here, Michael, thinks this race is going to go green for very long. They think it's going to be action-packed. The trucks are so loose, as you mentioned before, that a lot of these drivers are really worried about some of the inexperienced drivers down here.
And that's why there's going to be 2 different agendas when this race starts, Phil. There's going to be guys diving for the front, trying to lead this race and be right in the front. And you heard Bobby Hamilton talk. There's going to be some guys that are going to go to the back and goof off for a while, maybe miss the big wreck.
The Domino's starting grid has Kerry Earnhardt on the pole for his very first Craftsman Truck Series race. Dennis Sesser's on the outside, but he changed a motor. He'll have to go to the back of the field.
Inside, row 2, Robert Huffman, a terrific qualifying run. New team, Darrell Walter Motorsports, Robert Huffman, 2nd year in the Truck Series.
Row 3 has Tracy Hines on the inside, Todd Bodine on the outside. Regan Smith, the new teammate to Jack Sprague on the outside of 4.
Shiggy Hattori, a Japanese driver, going to make his first start in the Craftsman Truck Series. Michael, we were talking about Bobby Hamilton saying he may try to work his way to the back. We heard Ted Musgrave during the qualifying show yesterday, even though he's got a poor starting position, saying that he was going to take less than 10 laps to get to the front. He has changed that tune. Now he's talking the same tune as Bobby Hamilton. Let me move to the back and let things shake out before I make my way to the front.
Well, let me remind you, as Jimmy Spencer's helmet is not to him yet. The trucks have rolled off the line, and Jimmy's helmet is just now making it out to the truck. So he'll probably have to start in the back for not leaving pit road with the other competitor. He's one of the trucks that has to go to the back anyway, because they had to work on the truck, as Wendy told us, with a throttle linkage problem. Let me remind you of something, Phil. In 2000 at Talladega, with the same type of aerodynamic configuration in the Nextel Cup cars, the fins on the roof, the aerodynamic package that put a lot of drag in the Cup cars, Dale Earnhardt was running 18th with 4 laps to go. He and Kenny Wallace drove all the way to the front and won the race. We saw guys during that race lagging back, not getting in the middle of the big pack, to avoid an accident. If something happened, they didn't want to be in the middle of it. That is a strategy that I don't think is a bad idea here at Daytona, especially with these crazy loose trucks that these guys are trying to drive. If they do fall to the back, it might not be a bad idea.
And Michael, not one of the drivers that talks about falling to the back is worried about getting back to the front. Just as you said, it's going to be so easy for them to get back to the front because of the draft.
Here are 6 drivers that missed the field in qualifying. We had 42 attempting. With the new qualifying rules, there was only 6 spots available for 12 drivers trying to get in.
There you see Jimmy Spencer, the snap-on Team ASC Dodge. He's trying to get his helmet on. The nice thing about it is he's only missing the pace laps. He's got to go to the back of the field anyway.
I got you.
That's his truck owner right there. Jimmy Smith said, "I got you, Jimmy. I can hear you." You see him putting his gloves back on. He shoves the truck up in first gear, and away he goes.
All right, buddy.
Take a look at who we're going to ride around the track with. Starting off with the Ultra Motorsports Mopar Dodge of Ted Musgrave. He'll be starting 31st position.
We'll also be riding along in the Toyota Tundra of Mike Skinner. He's starting 16th.
Last year's pole sitter Terry Cook will start from the 12th position. Terry has been in the top 5 each and every race here at Daytona, all 5 of them.
There's Todd Bodine riding around in that 66 truck. Now we're still with Terry there. There's Todd. He's got him a Toyota up toward the front. I bet you Todd's strategy is to go lead the race. He's never been one guy to fall to the back. He likes to put his foot down and keep it there.
There's the Silverado of Dennis Setzer. You see Dennis making his way to the back. That's because of an engine change. He actually changed engines right before qualifying and went out and sat on the front row.
And the guy that got the pole was in a whole new truck. So that's kind of wild how qualifying worked out. And I think it all goes back to the new rules that we have this year with practicing before the race on your race setup and then qualifying like that.
We're also on board with Kerry Earnhardt. He has the opportunity for the Craftsman win from the pole award. By winning tonight's race from the pole position, he can win $2,000 for his team. But if he doesn't win from the pole tonight, then another $2,000 is going to be added to the prize money. Purse grows in increments of $2,000 until someone wins the award. That means $50,000 will be available to the teams this season. So Kerry Earnhardt, in his first ever Craftsman Truck Series start, will start from the pole position. No better place to start. 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The faces and names of this series are becoming synonymous with tough drivers. We've had 7 different champions over the 10 years of this series, and they've all been great champions. Welcome back to Daytona Beach, Florida for the Florida Dodge Dealers 250. Phil and Michael, who's going to win the championship this year?
Ted Musgrave's been in the top 3 each of the 4 seasons he's been in the Truck Series. He's my pick this year.
Michael?
I like Dennis Setzer. Dennis Setzer will be our champion. That's my pick, and I'm sticking with him.
Ray?
Well, guys, I think it's Johnny Benson. Last year, he only had 2 finishes worse than 13th, and it's going to be consistency in an incredibly tough field this year that wins it. JB will get the title. Wendy?
My pick for 2005, Ron Hornaday returning to the Truck Series. It's going to be a competitive year, guys.
Well, we're all going to pick a different champion because I'm going to say Ricky Craven. I think moving into a very successful truck that Carl Edwards jumped out of in his experience, he's going to win the championship this year.
Ricky, you know, Michael has a tendency to change his pick 2 or 3 times throughout the early races.
No, I'm taking Dennis Setzer, and I'm sticking with him for now.
All right, we'll see.
For now. The field of 36 makes their way out of turn number 4, comes down the tri-oval. The next move will be a left turn by the pace truck, and that will leave the reins of the machine behind Kerry Earnhardt. He will now set the pace until the first green flag flies for 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And we are underway with the Florida Dodge Dealers 250. It does not take long for the field to go 3 and 4 wide as they work their way through the tri-oval into turn 1.
Kerry jumps out to a pretty nice lead. You don't want to get too big a lead here, Michael, because when the pack catches you, they have so much momentum, they just drive right by.
Kerry's tucked down to the bottom of the racetrack. That's a smart move. If he could get Bill Lester just to dive in behind him, and those 2 guys just try to run some laps like that, they'd be safe. But as soon as Bill gets a run on him, I guarantee he's going to try to jump around him and lead this race. This is Daytona. You want to have your truck in the front, and Kerry Earnhardt is going to do that on the first lap.
Look at him, 3 wide on the first lap.
Coming into the start-finish line, 3 wide, David Rudiman. Kerry Earnhardt will be credited as leading the first lap of the 2005 season.
But Bill Lester has already taken the lead away from Kerry. The trucks are sticking right now, Phil, as well as they will. New tires are making them stick good. They're in a big glob of trucks.
Right now, they can ride off those new tires. The trucks are going to handle as good as they're going to handle all night. You've got a cool racetrack. You've got Bill Lester with another Toyota Tybo9 right on his rear bumper in second.
And look at Brendan Gaughan, and that 77 moves up into third. So they're forming a line at the bottom of the track now as they come through 3 and 4.
You see a lot of trucks sparking. That's because their air pressure has not built up yet in the tires. As the air pressure builds up, you'll see that those sparks go away.
Folks, these trucks are traveling at nearly 190 miles an hour. Some of the fastest vehicles at Daytona now.
It's a good view out of Tybo9's roof cam in his Toyota Tundra. You see him fan out down the backstretch. They see the yellow line on the right-hand side of your screen. That is out of bounds. You're not allowed to pass a truck by going below that yellow line.
And Phil, we know that all 36 of these trucks could be running in one pack if they wanted to. But look at the top of the screen when we get a shot of it. There's guys that have already fallen a corner back, and these trucks are all fast enough to be right up in this lead pack. They've elected to fall back, thinking that something's going to go wrong in this massive pack leading the race.
You know, Michael, they told us that they were going to fall back, but I never dreamed that they would fall back this far. They've got a half a straightaway gap right now between this lead pack, but nonetheless, there's a bunch of those good trucks, so they can run speeds comparable to what the leaders can.
Look at them coming off turn 2 here. Look how far they've gotten behind. But they haven't made it yet. Here they come, led by Steve Park, Bobby Hamilton, some of those guys in the back. They are safe back there. They cannot lose the draft, and they will be able to keep up. And if something goes wrong, they can get on the brakes and not crash.
I was talking to Dennis Setzer right before the race. He said the problem is if everybody wants to get back there and something happens in front of you, so they're going to crash trying to slow down to miss the wreck.
And we're being told that the 59 of Robert Presley may have brushed the wall. Let's take a look.
See, Robert, he almost gets forced up there a little bit. I believe that's Shiggy Hattori, the 9 Toyota, right in front of him.
Is that Rick Crawford? Rick Crawford on Robert. And look at Robert's truck. Talking about tough trucks. He's hit the wall and he's driving past them all.
Bringing Ted Musgrave and the 1 Mopar Dodge with him.
Now, will that knock the handling out of the front of that truck? You know, Phil, the front ends of these trucks are so wide, it definitely slows them down. Trying to break a bigger hole in the air. He knocks that right front corner in. It'll make his truck faster in a straight line, but will he lose the nose in the corners?
We saw Ted Musgrave knock the right front wicker of his truck off a few years ago, and he sat on the pole the very same lap he did it.
That's right. He made the front of his truck smaller, which will make it go straight faster. It's going to hurt him in the turns, though.
But that was for qualifying. That wasn't in a race configuration. They need the wide front fenders to plant the front end on these trucks.
If I was Bobby Hamilton's spotter, I would say, Bob, I know you've fallen way behind, but be patient. It looks like they're trying. Looks like they're trying to get a wreck done up front. But it's going to look like that all night long, Phil. They're going to battle from the start to the finish just like this.
These trucks draft so well, they punch such a big hole in the air that you're not going to be able to get away from one another. We're going to see 2-3 wide racing the entire time. See, that's Regan Smith, first ride for Dave Fuge in the number 19 Chevrolet.
7 laps complete. Bill Lester has been out in front as they go across the start-finish line and into 1 and 2. Bill Lester leading that pack down the backstretch. Lester has led 6 of the 7 laps.
Like we said, these trucks are handling as good as they can right now with these fresh tires on it. When things will really get dicey is when the tires get a little heat in them. Who's got a good enough truck to stay wide open in the corners? How loose are they going to get? What will happen as we get some heat in the tires?
See, two distinct lines right now. You've got Bill Lester leading the group on the bottom of the racetrack, and then you have Ted Musgrave, some of the other veterans. There's Ricky Craven, the 99 Super Chips Ford, leading that pack on the outside, along with Robert Presley.
8 laps complete. Bill Lester out in front of the pack. Right behind him, Todd Bodine, Terry Cook, Brendan Gaughan, and Kerry Earnhardt making up the top 5. Robert Presley brushing the wall early on in this one, but he's got a rocket ship under him. Welcome back to Daytona. Rick Crawford just taking an unbelievable ride and coming to rest in the infield just in front of the grandstands. The caution comes out. The field slows down. Bill Lester still out in front of this pack. And Rick Crawford, the only truck being caught up in this. So it wasn't multiple trucks, but folks, we're seeing this truck moving and driving back out on the track. When you see the replay of this one, you won't believe it.
You can see the damage on the roof of that truck.
It turned over, and I'm okay.
You heard Rick, he said it turned over, but I'm okay.
And you can hear the crowd screaming.
We're putting 4 front tires on it, guys. We're going to get that hood back on it.
Take a look here what happens. He's right now, he's racing in the 4th position. He looks to the inside of Todd Bodine. Todd comes down the hill, forces him to the inside. The air gets underneath the truck, turns it over. One revolution, and then back on 4 wheels. What a ride.
What a ride. He needs to make sure he doesn't go too fast right now. He's got a flat right front tire. Check out this look. Todd just ping-ponging back and forth, Bill.
Yeah, he bounces off of that Terry Cook truck into Rick Crawford. You can see the tire mark on the right side. You see the wheel still spinning on Rick Crawford's truck while it's up in the air.
He hits the brakes there.
He was finally smart enough to let off. That's pretty. That's using your head. He's flipping over at Daytona and he let off the gas. I'm proud of him for that. He's going to have a flat right front tire. If he can nurse that thing back to the pits, he might be able to keep racing.
Let's take a ride with Terry Cook. Terry Cook was on the outside. He's the truck that Todd Bodine got into. You see, there's the contact, and Todd bounces off him into Rick Crawford.
Just 3 wide racing off the turn at Daytona. And these trucks are really unstable this year, Phil. They're a little bit loose, and so any turbulence at all could have kicked Todd Bodine's truck sideways, and he had to go somewhere. He went out, hit Cook, then came off and hit Crawford. The fans are loving this. They're on their feet cheering.
On their feet cheering for Rick Crawford as he comes down pit road right now. They are amazed, as we are, that Rick Crawford is still running this race, let alone driving down pit road and expecting to come back out.
The right front of that truck took a pretty hard hit on the ground.
Let's go down to the pits and Wendy Venerini.
Damage on the nose of Rick Crawford's truck as well on all ends and the roof. They're changing 4 tires, checking for damage elsewhere. It seems like he should be pretty good once they get these tires on there and push down the hood, and he'll get back on the track, guys.
You see the NASCAR official looking at the roof flap. They want to make sure that that roof flap is not damaged. I think if the roof flap is inoperational, then they will not allow him back on the racetrack.
It looks like it's going to be okay.
Yeah, you can see the official grab it. He was able to pull it up. Now they're pointing at it. It comes up a little bit, but not enough. They need to pry the sheet metal away from that roof flap so it will come up.
I'm afraid there might be some right front suspension damage, Phil. That thing landed hard on that right front corner.
Oh, we're getting a report now that there's a problem with the oil pump.
Sorry, Stella.
You know, we saw Dale Earnhardt flip over here a few years back. And
drove it back.
Almost got into the ambulance and then decided, no, I'm going to see if it'll start.
I'm going to get back in that car. Drove around and finished up the race.
Now, we heard Rick Crawford make the comment to his crew. It turned over.
Just stay calm. Just stay calm here.
We got some trucks on pit road led by Ted Musgrave.
Lots of trucks. More than I figured at lap 12, huh?
Rain.
Well, guys, they were about 220 on the oil and the water, so they decided to pull a little tape off the front. Also going to put fuel in this thing. 1 round of wedge for Ted Musgrave. We also see the 2 truck of Jimmy Spencer came in. He's going to get fuel only. They did fuel, no tires this time. Now, Jimmy went very far forward in his pit, had to wait just a little bit on Bobby Hamilton. Lots of trucks coming down pit road, including Johnny Benson and the 75 of David Starr.
Ray,
what happened, guys?
Spencer got crashed. Got hit in the right front corner by number 18.
Let's see if we can take a look at what happened to Jimmy Spencer. It looked like he and Chase Montgomery in the Federated Auto Parts Dodge got together leaving pit road.
It looked like Bobby Hamilton didn't leave his box very fast, Phil. And watch, Jimmy finally says, well, come on, Bobby, let's go. And pulls out. Wham!
Boy, Chase had a full head of steam there, and Jimmy really pulled right out into the side of him.
Yeah, and look at the damage up on the right front of that truck. You can see right there, it looks like maybe even knocked the toe out on that truck. Jimmy Spencer may have a little bit of damage, but what a ride Rick Crawford goes for. Florida Dodge Dealers 250. Rick Crawford, the 2003 winner. Drama continues for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series in season number 11. Jimmy Spencer catching up to the pack after he made another stop because of the damage when he came out of pit road. This was a pretty hard hit, Phil.
Sure was. As you mentioned, Bobby Hamilton did not really pull out of his pit as quickly as Jimmy Spencer wanted him to. So he's going to pull around, and there's, you see, a very close call between Ted Musgrave and the 8 of Deborah Renshaw. You see Jimmy pull out around Bobby Hamilton, and bam, makes contact with Chase Montgomery.
Okay, I hope you caught your breath. It's time to get all back up in the middle of this mess.
Bill Lester leading the field back to the green flag and back underway. Lap 15, we've had 2 different leaders. Bill Lester has led 13 laps. Kerry Earnhardt the first lap.
Side-by-side battle for second between Terry Cook on the inside, Todd Bodine on the outside.
Outside, you got the hill. Keep coming.
There's Terry. Now Brendan Gaughan, the Jasper, number 77, pulls on the inside, going for the lead.
Inside line, Brendan Gaughan.
This is so crazy. Look at that big lead pack, and then the gap back to the rest. They've already backed off, and we just got started.
Brendan Gaughan out in front. He leads his first lap. Wendy?
Terry Cook has been complaining that his truck needs more grip in the tires. The truck's moving around a bit, so you see Terry Cook lost a few spots right there on that lap.
They're all going to complain about that. They've only run 15 laps on these tires. They got to go another 20, Phil?
Yeah, the top 18 trucks stayed on the racetrack. But even all the guys that came down pit road didn't put any tires on. Most of them did fuel only and maybe some chassis adjustments.
On board with Mike Skinner. Matt Crafton on his outside, the Menards number 88.
This is the lead pack we're looking at. There's a good 15 trucks that have elected to fall back some 2 or 3 seconds off this lead pack. How long do you hang with that strategy? I like these guys. They're being patient. They had a plan at the beginning. A lot of times they'll fall back a little bit and they'll just lose their mind. They'll say, oh man, we got to catch up. We got to catch up. They've decided that this is the plan they're going to stick with. How long do you stick with it, Phil?
And watch them, Michael. They're all running single file. There's no sense running at the back of the pack and running side by side. Ray, what's going on down there?
Well, Phil, just wanted to add to what Michael thought. It's 65 laps is the number that Bobby Hamilton told me that group in the back would start to make their move forward. They want to lay back there that long because look at this action up front with them going 2 and 3 wide. They just don't believe that they're going to be able to continue this kind of racing without a big crash. So they plan on running that trail end till lap 65 or even maybe 70.
Ray, you're exactly right, and they're exactly right. They know there are going to be some more caution flags. They're not worried at all about losing this lead draft. They want to stay back there, run single file, and keep their truck in one piece and have something to race at the end.
It's 2 different groups of trucks, 2 different attitudes. You got them 3 wide in the front pack, you got them single file in the back pack. And for this point in the race, there's no reason to be putting yourself through all this, other than wanting to lead, which is cool.
So you're okay if you're Brendan Gaughan up there and Bill Lester. You're right at the very front of the pack. Dennis Setzer used this strategy last year. He led a bunch of this race, never got out of the top 10, had a flawless race and finished in the top 10. For Brendan Gaughan, people like that, it's working. But for the guys in the middle, well, maybe it didn't work so much. It looked like Brendan Gaughan almost got a shot from Regan Smith.
Regan Smith wants to lead a lap, and so he takes away the top spot from Brendan Gaughan. Wendy?
Brendan Gaughan is reporting a little bit of a loose condition. He said the bottom side is bottoming out real bad. He reported to crew chief Billy Wilburn. I asked Billy when they planned on pitting. He said around lap 33.
Well, there's a lot of wiggling around with these trucks out there, isn't there, Michael? I mean, these guys have their hands full to try to run up front here.
Regan Smith had a little help from the 15 of Kerry Earnhardt. Now Earnhardt all alone on the bottom until Regan Smith dips down in front of him, so he gets a little of the draft. Ray?
Guys, Regan Smith qualified 8th, and I was a little bit surprised at that. They were very worried about whether they were going to get into the show. I talked to him right before the race started, and he said, you know what? We thought we had a top 3 truck, so I'm disappointed with 8th. This is actually a truck that Ron Hornaday used to win back in Homestead in 2002. It's chassis number 29, and Regan Smith says he feels like it's the very best going down the Brack straightaway and into turn number 3. He said he feels like it's really good in 3 and 4, a little bit tight coming off of turn 1.
Look at that pack of trucks, Phil. Lap after lap, turn after turn, all over one another. And like you said, sliding and slipping every which direction. Here comes Todd. Nope, that's Todd's old truck. Chad Chapman to the bottom for the lead with Ricky Craven right on his bumper.
Now, you would have thought Ricky Craven would have been one of the veterans that would have laid back with Bobby Hamilton and Ted Musgrave and some of those people. But, hey, he's been trying to make his way to the front this entire race.
Riding on board with Todd Bodine as he gets a look at Brendan Gaughan just in front of him.
A lap ago, Kerry Earnhardt was going for the lead. That time by, he's out of the top 10.
Ricky Craven, the biggest mover so far tonight.
Shiggy got a little jiggy.
Shiggy able to hold on to it. But right in the middle, we've talked about the pinball effect from the middle of this pack.
Shiggy says, I want to get out of the middle. I don't care if I'm on the inside or I'm on the outside. I just don't want to be in the middle.
The ice in number 9 going for a little ride there.
Here comes the pack. Running back up on Shiggy. Going around the outside is Terry Cook. Kerry right behind him.
There's Ron Hornaday, the 6 Goodwrench Chevrolet on the inside, right behind Shiggy. See if we can take a look at why Shiggy almost bounced around like a ping pong. You see Dennis Setzer with the 46 truck gets on the inside of Shiggy. They go down in the corner. Shiggy gets a little bit loose, and then David Rudiman actually looks like he might even have made a little bit of contact with him.
Well, Rudiman straightened it back up. He was lucky Rudiman was there. I think he might have been starting in a big spin cycle.
3 wide. Look at him dicing and dancing back and forth across the backstretch.
That's an incredible shot right there. You see David Rudiman pull to the inside, wants to get right on the bottom as it goes by Dennis Setzer in the 46 truck. Chad Chaffin's leading this race in the Jermaine Arnold Toyota number 30.
That's a strong team, Phil. They debuted last fall, and man, they went to winning races, leading laps, and they've taken right over where they left off last year. Got a truck to the pits. Robert Presley, we saw him make contact with the wall earlier. A little early for scheduled stop, so he's definitely got something to miss.
Robert won this race a couple years ago, and he also finished 3rd in this race. Actually, 2003 finished 3rd in this race, so it has a tremendous record here at Daytona in the truck race.
Ray?
Well, guys, he said he felt like that right front tire was going flat. They knew they had a little bit of damage on that fender, and he said it really felt like it was getting very soft in the right front. He didn't want to take a chance of wrecking it, and they just decided, while we're already here, we're going to go ahead and go with 4. I don't know whether he'll be able to stay on the lead lap with 4 tires and a little bit of a hang-up on the left front. They get it on, but he is going to lose a lap here in the pits.
Robert Presley makes his way back out onto the track. The pack making its way by Robert Presley. 5 different leaders in this race. Bill Lester has led the most laps. Chad Chaffin now out in front of this pack as we've completed 23 laps. Chaffin in front for now. This Monday, Speed presents a NASCAR show for the NASCAR masses, NASCAR Nation. More than just news, it's an all-access pass to the hottest sport in the country. Declare your citizenship to NASCAR Nation. Series premiere Monday at 7 p.m. And I'm sure they'll be talking about this race on Monday on NASCAR Nation. Todd Bodine out in front of the field. Ricky Craven behind him.
Hey, Rick, you want to know an interesting little tidbit of information? The fastest truck on that last lap was Chase Montgomery. He ran roughly a second faster than the leader. You know where he's running? 30th. He's in this backpack. They're getting a big suck off that big clob of trucks in the front. Look at that air those trucks are pushing. And that's all shuffling back to these guys back here. that have fallen back, they're actually going to get a little nervous about getting too close to the front now.
They've fallen back to about 6 seconds behind, and they want to stay there. They don't want to get any closer than that.
The bumping and banging continues even at break. The 46 of Dennis Setzer and Mike Skinner got involved in a little bit of an incident, and that included the 12 of Robert Huffman then.
You see Dennis in the middle of the racetrack there. Comes up a little bit, tries to stay off of Mike Skinner and runs into the side of the 12 of Robert Huffman. That's exactly how Rick Crawford got turned over a few laps ago.
And that's also, it looked like a terrible situation they put Huffman in. He got sideways, heading down toward the inside, just like we've seen happen to him at Homestead last fall. He spun down and hit the inside wall. I bet you his heart skipped a few beats when that thing turned back toward that inside wall.
Michael, how difficult is it? You're going 190 miles an hour and you just get smashed in the side by a truck. How hard is it to hold it straight?
It's very difficult, but you know what you're doing? You've got your guard up. You've got all your defenses out, and you know that might happen, so you're ready for it. You hope it doesn't happen, but you're ready for it. Front trucks are beginning to single out a little bit.
I heard Todd get out of the throttle in that corner there. You see him move up the racetrack. Now look at the pack go by on the inside. I'm not sure if he may have, at the very least, a handling problem. Ray, what's going on with Todd?
Well, he was real loose that last lap, Phil. He said we're going to have to tighten it up coming off the corner quite a bit. And he said the right rear fender's rubbing in too. He's starting to smell rubber. He said, well, we're going to pit in a few laps. I want you to pull that fender out. But he said it was just got so loose that last time by when they came up on his rear bumper, he had to get out of the pack.
Regan Smith takes over the top spot as Todd Bodine falls back through the pack. And now there's another Chevy Silverado on the inside. It looks as though Dennis Setzer wants to take the top spot. Wendy.
The 88 of Matt Crafton is in. Scheduled stop, 4 tires and fuel. He was a little bit tight, so they make that adjustment, and he is down.
Big lead for Dennis Setzer. He's not going to want that lead, that big lead when he gets down off of turn number 2. See Mike Skinner, the Toyota. Look at the run he gets. Dennis is punching such a big hole in the air. Look at the run Mike Skinner gets. I think if he wanted to, he could have driven by on the outside.
But these trucks aren't handling real good right now, Phil. We're getting real close to our first pit stop. I'm impressed that this big pack in the front's been able to stay as relatively calm as they have. Now, when I say calm, they're 3 wide, they're side by side, but we haven't seen a whole lot of running into each other except for the little incident off turn 4 there a minute ago.
Michael, look at Robert Presley. He came out of the pits with 4 tires, and he was at the very front of that second pack, 6 seconds behind. Look, now he's caught that lead pack. Look what 4 tires are doing for his truck.
Now remember, he is 1 lap down because he came in to change a tire under green flag situations.
But I'd feel pretty good about the lucky pass deal right now if I were him, and this would be biding my time until these other guys pitted. He's going to come out all by himself, though, Phil, I believe, when all these cats pit. So that might serve him, deal him some bad cards if he's got to do that.
I think he would probably just as soon have a caution come out right now, get the free pass, go back to racing after that.
Riding along with our pole sitter, Kerry Earnhardt. Kerry's dropped back to 12th position.
Listen to him get off the gas, getting in the corner. That's something you would never dream.
Clear.
They're going to pit. Got some guys probably coming to pit road here. Yeah, got pit stop action.
Outside. Watch the 12. Watch him outside.
Good spotter. They're trying to keep Kerry aware of who's around him. They told him the 99 was coming out on the outside and the 59. Got a bunch of the leaders on pit road.
Chad Chaffin had been leading some of this race. He's on pit road, as is David Rudiman, Robert Huffman.
Huffman received a little bit of damage there off turn 4. Those guys will have to check that out. Wendy?
David Rudiman is in for his routine stop, 4 tires and fuel. He's had no complaints, so they're not going to make too many adjustments on the truck. The 12, his teammate of Robert Huffman, is still in. Also in, it looks like the 17 has now stalled. A little bit of trouble on the left-hand side, and now they are down.
More trucks coming to pit road as they come off turn 4. Setzer and Regan Smith, Hornaday, and Robert Presley all stay on the track. But here comes Skinner, Cook, Brendan Gaughan, Craven.
Wendy.
5 of Mike Skinner is in for his routine stop as they're on the right-hand side. He was a little bit loose at the start of the race, but he is okay now as the crew goes to work on the left-hand side. And next time by, we will see Dennis Setzer coming down pit road.
Ricky Craven in that Super Chips Ford. He said he was really loose coming off of turn number 4 the last 2 laps. So they said tighten it up with air pressure. They'll do that in 4 tires. All the fuel is in for these guys. Pretty routine stop, no problem. Just a little bit of a hang up on the left front. Craven gets back to the racetrack. Now this time we should see the 19 and the 46 coming down pit road. They just called on the radio and said, let's get tires this time by. Will they pit?
They sure are, Ray. There's Kerry Earnhardt. He was awfully slow coming into the pits. I'm not sure, maybe he ran out of fuel already. You see him put 4 tires on the truck. Wendy.
The 46 of Dennis Setzer is in for his routine stop. It got a little hairy a few laps ago. Crew Chief Eric Phillips was clenching his fist. They are taking 4 tires. Looks pretty routine on the 46. Let's check in with Ray.
19 is in also. Regan Smith, who has run up front throughout the course of the day. Qualified 8th and been up front. He said we want to go up 1 pound of air pressure on the right front. They did that. Other than that, no chassis change. They did not move the track bar or any wedge, so just do it with air pressure. And Smith goes back to the racetrack. Setzer will get off the pit road first, and right behind him, Kerry Earnhardt.
Regan Smith just in front of Kerry Earnhardt. Kerry Earnhardt must have run out of fuel because his crew had to push him as he was trying to exit his pit stall. Out in front of the field, it's 2-time series champion Ron Hornaday leading the field around this 2.5-mile trioval. Drama already starting in the first race of the season. Rick Crawford getting upside down. They're all shooting for that prize, the championship trophy for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Drama continuing. Mike Harmon in the 21 getting spun around in turn 4, coming off of 4, actually hits the wall on the inside of the track.
It's going to be a tremendous break for Ron Hornaday and some of these other trucks that pitted back on lap number 12 on that caution flag. They've stayed on the racetrack, but it's going to be a horrible break for some of the good trucks because now they find themselves a lap down.
Ron Hornaday has to have a good truck, Phil. Here he is on tires that are just about gone. He's got to pit in 4 or 5 laps, but yet he's able to hang right with the leaders. Drove that truck around on the older tires and kept it right up front. So that's a sign to me his truck's working.
And Michael, we saw how good the tires were for Robert Presley. He caught the leaders from 6 seconds back in a matter of about 6 laps.
Take a look at Mike Harmon's problems.
Looks like he got a little bit loose and jumped up in front of Deborah Renshaw. There was probably some contact there. It sent him around. He made some contact with the inside wall, but it didn't look like a great deal.
So there's a bunch of trucks that need to just come on. They're not.
A little bit before that, Brad Keselowski in the subcruise.com Ford had a close call. Watch him. You see Terry Cook move down. He gets big time sideways.
Oh, wow.
Nice save for his first time ever at Daytona.
What do you think David Ruderman was thinking?
Here we go. Here we go.
Not going to be any fun.
Brad Keselowski was thinking right then?
Guys, good call.
He was too busy. He was too busy to be thinking right then. That was more reflex.
Mike Harmon bringing the 21 out after they surveyed the damage on that. Made some adjustments and brought him back out. And Brad Keselowski looks as though he's going to be coming in.
And that's Brad. Brad is running in the 2nd position right now to Ron Hornaday. He's one of the trucks that pitted back on lap number 12, so he had enough fuel to stretch it. A lot of the trucks that stayed out all made their green flag pit stops. And now Robert Presley and Robert Huffman, Regan Smith, Brendan Gaughan are all a lap down.
Todd Cleaver running for Rookie of the Year this year, currently being shown in 3rd position. He takes over that ride from John Wood. John Wood moved into the Busch Series this year.
Phil, these are the trucks that were ahead of Hornaday on the track. They're marching their way back around the track to catch up with the lead pack so that they can make their pit stops. Now they're on the lead lap. They managed to get ahead of Hornaday before that caution flew. Guys like Robert Huffman, you can see the 19 of Regan Smith, Brendan Gaughan, Brandon Witt, all these guys couldn't get ahead of Hornaday, and so now they're a lap down.
The second caution has come out. Pits are closed. That's the sign you see there with the flag. We'll be back with more racing. Daytona.
Welcome back to Daytona. In the middle of pit stops, Brad Keselowski is in for his routine stop. He's celebrating his 21st birthday with his first ever Truck Series start at Daytona. Also right in front of him, Dennis Setzer is going to come in and gas and go. Let's check in with Ray.
The Good Wrench Chevy is here, Wendy, for Ron Hornaday. Routine pit stop, no changes for his chassis. Just going to be a 4-tire stop and plenty of fuel. You see Hornaday on the top of your screen. At the bottom of the screen, the number 50 of Todd Cleaver. Realize Cleaver pitted on lap 12 and put on 4 tires and lowered his track bar. This time they'll put on tires again. He's down and away, but realize they're on their second set of tires already here when we're just at lap 41.
Trucks coming out of pit road, getting back out onto the track. This caution came out when Mike Harmon got spun out of turn 4. Coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Florida Dodge Dealers 250 on Speed Channel is brought to you by Harley-Davidson Motorcycles. It's time to ride. By Miller High Life. To live simply, proudly, boldly, manly. This is the High Life. And by Domino's Pizza. Get the door. It's Domino's, the official pizza of NASCAR.
And of Michael Waltrip Racing. We like Domino's. We endorse Domino's.
Field being led by Terry Cook. Terry Cook has the top spot. He's not actually the one that's in front of this pack.
Flag. Got 3 trucks, actually about 5 trucks that are ahead of Terry Cook. Maybe 6 or 7, wanting to get back on the lead lap. They're on older tires, a little bit older than a lot of the guys in the field, so this is going to provide for a shakeup. We're going to have a lot of stuff going on here right at the front of the pack, Rick.
The 12 of Robert Huffman actually led the field down to green. He is on the tail end of the lead lap.
And these guys don't have any choice. Whoa, me.
Early on.
These guys don't have any choice now. It's not about laying back and hoping something goes wrong up front. They got to get their lap back. They got to get back right now.
Well, Shiggy Hattori in the 9 truck is going to the front. He's being shown on the tail end of the lead lap also, so he wants to definitely stay in front of the leader.
This is when it gets tense, when you got people on different agendas. Lap down trucks, lead lap trucks.
And there are so many trucks that right now are on the tail end of the lead lap. You want to try to stay in front of the leader because there's only going to be one free pass if the caution comes out. You want to earn it yourself. Stay in front of the leader.
So far, Huffman's been able to do that. What you'd like to see is maybe Brendan Gaughan or somebody that has some experience come up and say, maybe Huffman and I together can hold this pack off. Don't just pass Robert as soon as you get to him. Hit him, push him, keep him punched ahead of the rest of the bunch.
Chase Montgomery wanted to take the top spot away from Terry Cook, but Terry Cook still holding on to that position.
See, Tracy Hines with 13 Chevrolet is on the outside of the racetrack.
Tracy Hines with a very impressive qualifying run. 5th, qualified 5th in this field. Lance Hooper making his final, I guess, start as crew chief for that team.
Hey, Phil, I think we got a few more takers this time on laying back. Maybe all the lap trucks and all the things that were going to go on the front has made more trucks fall to the back of the pack, and they're going to get more wide.
Look at Shiggy get sideways in the 9 truck.
Dennis Setzer right in the middle of this pack, 5th. Right in front of him, Ron Hornaday. Both trucks in the middle.
I don't see how this is working.
Look at Shiggy. He moves up into the middle. Opens up the bottom for Regan Smith.
He doesn't want to be there.
I'm not sure he's going to be there that much longer.
Kerry Earnhardt and the Albertsons 15 on the outside. Shiggy Hattori again getting stuck in the middle a few times already tonight.
It almost looks like the line he runs, Michael, kind of leaves him in the middle because he runs in the middle of the racetrack even when he didn't have anybody on the inside. As you see Ron Hornaday look to the inside, almost drive up beside him.
Wow, that's a great shot there, Phil. Watch all this jockeying that's going on the back straightaway. Oh, they're moving everywhere, trying to protect their line, keep a lead, gain a spot.
Stay in front of the leader. Robert Huffman was trying to do that.
Got Tracy Hines now leading that pack.
Low if you want it, clear low.
Okay, that camera's making me dizzy.
It might have fallen off with all of the banging that's going on out on the track.
There's Terry Cook, our leader now. He's moved his way up into the second position on the racetrack right behind Tracy Hines, who is on the tail end of the lead lap.
Tracy Hines would love to have a caution fly right now so that he can stay on the lead lap.
There's the 18 on the outside, Chase Montgomery. He's being shown right now in the second position. He was actually on pit road when that caution came out, and he was able to get to the start-finish line before the leader. That's how he stayed on the lead lap.
Saw Brendan Gaughan go below, I'm nervous, go below the yellow line there a little bit. See what NASCAR thinks about that. Wow, 3 wide off the turn. Historically, that's been trouble.
You know, we've run almost 50 laps now, and things haven't calmed down one bit.
No, nor did we expect them to, Phil.
Now Regan Smith and Ricky Craven taking the center line, which has been very difficult to hold around this tri-oval.
You gotta like what Terry Cook's been able to do right now. He's got that truck at the front, and he's been able to keep it there for a while.
He's so good at this racetrack too, Michael. You know, we mentioned earlier, he's never been out of the top 10 in all 5 starts here at Daytona.
Okay, until you've been out there and experienced what it's like to hit a wall going this fast, maybe you can't respect how scared I am.
There's Terry's record right there. Look at that. A 5th, a 9th, a 6th, a 6th, a 4th. And he's the only driver.
Oh, there we go.
Here's a problem. Kerry Earnhardt gets spun sideways. Problem stacking up behind him. Cars racing down pit road again. Chase Montgomery involved in this one. Regan Smith. Shiggy Hattori.
Todd Cleaver.
Problems again for Todd Cleaver. Brandon Witt makes it into the infield.
And here comes the trucks by that laid back. You see Jack Sprague, Steve Park, Casey Atwood, they all laid back. Bobby Hamilton.
Bobby Hamilton's just now getting to the crash scene, Phil. He's up in first gear, idling through.
Yeah, and a lot of the trucks that laid back with him went down pit road. Pretty good call to lay back here, wasn't it, Michael?
I don't see where it was the wrong thing to do. Knowing the history of this event, knowing what was going on in the front, Shiggy must have got his throttle stuck a little bit.
Pole sitter Kerry Earnhardt making his way across the infield.
It started with Kerry, but he might have got hit. I mean, no telling what happened to turn Kerry. He was the first truck I saw out of control, but they were asking for it.
Each and every lap, we saw them come off turn 4, 3 wide, bouncing around, dancing. You see Chase Montgomery with a considerable amount of damage to the Federated Auto Parts Dodge. There's Ron Horner. They had such a great run, a good strategy. Look at all the damage to that Goodwrench Chevrolet.
And more damage will continue to take place as the rubber is torn away from the tires.
This is another truck that was hauling the mail.
Regan Smith, such a great run. His 4th start ever in the Truck Series. Led this race. See if we can take a look at what caused this, Michael. Here they are coming through turn number 4. See, Kerry's right on the bottom of the racetrack. He looks like he gets a little bit sideways right beside David Rudum. It didn't look like there was any contact. It looked like it just got loose on the inside. When you're on the inside of another truck, it robs that truck of air off the spoiler. It looks like it just got loose. Take another look.
They're side by side, and it's just almost impossible when you're driving that close together and you're trying to do it 3 wide to keep the thing going straight.
See Tracy, Matt Kraft on the 88 gets run into from behind, gets turned around. And watch these, there's Dennis Setzer, Chad Chaffa. They go down pit road at 180 miles an hour, just like Carl Edwards did last year, and he came back and won the race.
Are you okay?
Take a look at it at regular speed.
Doesn't look like anybody was hurt, Phil. That's the best part of it. They're all able to walk away or drive away.
Let's take a ride with Kerry Earnhardt. This is not going to be much fun. See Brandon Witt's truck on the hook. Here's Kerry on the inside. You heard him playing with the throttle even before he got sideways. So he obviously knew his truck was a little bit loose. And then when he kind of sucked up into the side of David Rudum, it just pulled him around.
Let's see what Setzer sees. Look at this move.
Watch him go down pit road here. Wow. See all the trucks crashing in the background over on the racetrack. And Dennis is just idling down pit road about 140 miles an hour.
Whoa. Shiggy Hattori, that was at the end of that one. Regan Smith in the 19 just in front of him.
He may not have had any brakes. As much damage as Shiggy had to that truck.
Flames coming out from underneath the Goodwrench Chevrolet of Ron Hornaday.
That's those shredded up, torn up tires. Rubber getting against, maybe knocking a hole in the oil cooler and causing a fire under the hood. Pretty good fire, Phil.
Yeah, sure is. It looks like right in the spindle area, so that's probably, you mentioned rubber maybe getting on the headers or something like that. There's
cars being taken back to the garage. This is why we're under caution number 3. Kerry Earnhardt in the Albertsons number 15 gets sideways, checks up and makes his way back across the track in front of Ron Hornaday, and then numerous trucks caught up in this incident. We'll be back with more from Florida. We're back at Daytona Beach, Florida. Mike Harmon brought out the second caution, but was unscathed in the third one that just took place.
a lot of trucks came down pit road during this caution flag. Terry Cook was our leader. He came in along with Mike Skinner and Todd Bodine, David Rudeman, Ricky Craven, Kelly Sutton, Steve Park, David Starr, among a few others.
Well, let's take a closer look at the Premier Division of NASCAR in our Nextel Cup update. Look at the starting grid. Dale Jarrett, Jimmy Johnson taking those two spots from qualifying, and then look who's in row number 2.
Tony Stewart.
Who else?
And me.
That's by virtue of winning your Gatorade duel yesterday. Great job, by the way.
Oh, thank you, Tony, Yuri Jr., Tony, all my boys just made the Napa Chevy. Just
in
like
just
I wanted.
2 days, NASCAR on Fox returns with the 47th running of the Great American Race. 43 drivers will clash in the fastest, fiercest, most high-powered sporting event in the world, the Daytona 500. Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, in high definition only on Fox.
Welcome back to Daytona. Dennis Setzer was just in for a pit stop, 4 tires and fuel on lap 54 for Dennis Setzer.
We're getting a report, Rick, that all the trucks that we saw, Dennis Setzer being one of them, that came down pit road to avoid that accident are going to be penalized and put to the back of the lead lap because NASCAR said they did not make any attempt to slow down on pit road. See, Brad Keselowski, this just happened moments ago. You see him lock up the brakes.
Oh.
Ooh, and runs in the back of a tire carrier.
Well, we've got a guy pinched in there as well, holding the catch can.
Man, these rookies, when they come to Daytona, they can't just quite get a grasp sometimes on what it's like to get stopped on pit road. We saw in the ARCA race the other day a guy slide through his pits. It's just really hard to impress enough upon somebody that hadn't been here before how hard it is to get stopped in your box.
Ray?
Well, guys, a number of trucks on my end just down pit road. We saw Jimmy Spencer and Ted Musgrave come down to put fuel only in their Dodges, but Jack Sprague just brought his Chevy Silverado down here and put 4 tires on it on lap 54, and they filled that thing up with gas. Now, I'm going to check on this, but I'm pretty sure there's no way they can make the distance here, but nevertheless, they wanted to have fuel here to see if this thing goes for a long green flag run. They'll have tires and fuel, while many of these other trucks just put fuel in to try to make a long run.
Problems in the pits. Brad Keselowski coming in just a little bit too hot, getting into the back of another truck. Coming to the start-finish line, we'll restart on lap 56. Problems getting underway. Ted Musgrave in the Mopar Dodge, number 1.
Looked like he might have had a transmission problem. He's just now getting up to speed, but he's several seconds behind the very back of the field. There's Ted right there.
Ray?
No, guys, I don't know yet. I'm trying to listen to the radio here, see what it is. I'll get right back to you.
All right, thanks, Ray.
They're trying to wreck again, Phil.
Yeah, we've got several trucks just in the same boat. Robert Huffman, Bill Lester, Kelly Sutton are 1 lap down, and we also have some trucks on the tail end of the lead lap like Brendan Gaughan.
Looked like a couple of guys were really arguing for space coming down that back straightaway.
Johnny Benson out in front now. Ken Weaver being shown at the end of the field, being put down a lap. Todd Bodine second, Mike Skinner third, Terry Cook in fourth.
See Brendan, the 77 yellow truck on the outside. Johnny was able to get by him, put him back a lap down. He would desperately like to get in front of Johnny Benson or any of the rest of these trucks. Now they're below the yellow line racing.
Way below it.
They're not supposed to do that.
No, and NASCAR used to jump on it, give you a penalty right quick for that.
Oh, that's almost 4 wide going into the turn.
That was about 3.5 wide right there, it looked like. You see Terry Cook, the Power Stroke Diesel Ford, has been strong this entire race. He's on the outside making his way back up towards the front.
Well, if I was NASCAR, I'd get my black flag out and make an example of someone. You can't race under the yellow line. They're clearly doing it and getting by with it. Well, I shouldn't say they're getting by with it yet.
We saw a couple trucks do that earlier, and we did not see any penalties. Bobby Hamilton is up in this lead group now. We saw him fall back to the rear this entire race. We're over halfway now. A lot of the trucks are out because of the damage from that accident. Bobby Hamilton says it's time to go.
And Ray had mentioned earlier, I thought maybe around lap 65. Well, we've completed 58 laps. Johnny Benson out in front of a star-studded field. Todd Bodine, Mike Skinner, Terry Cook, Ricky Craven, Bobby Hamilton, David Starr, David Ruderman, and Ken Weaver are your top 10.
See Todd drives to the lead on the outside with Mike Skinner in the 5 Toyota pushing him. That's Mike Skinner we're riding with right there. He's currently in the second position. As Todd going on the 66 Fiddleback Toyota leading.
You see just how much they're moving around. Another truck that had problems early on touched the wall. Robert Presley's making his way back up to the front.
Yeah, Robert was the recipient of a free pass after he made his unscheduled pit stop. Looks like he's a little slow on the outside of the racetrack right there, Michael.
Wow.
Didn't leave quite enough room for Chad Chaffin in the 30 truck to get by. Now he looks like he's back up to speed.
Presley being scored in the 10th position. Mike Skinner taking over the top spot. Ricky Craven moving up to second. Johnny Benson drops to third. David Ruderman to fourth.
Well, that accident hasn't kept them from running side by side and 3 wide at times.
11 different leaders of this race. Mike Skinner putting his name on that list.
Well, looked like Bill Lester turned sideways there. Had David Ruderman right on his back bumper. Brendan Gaughan now is pulled up into the second position on the racetrack. He's still being shown 1 lap down.
But hell, I was fixing to lose the lead.
Let's go down to Wendy Venturini. Wendy?
Mike Skinner was one of those trucks that decided to come in at lap 52. They came in for 4 tires and fuel, but Mike was so happy that there was no adjustments made to that truck by crew chief Jeff Hensley.
3 wide up in turn 2. It looks like Bobby Hamilton has seen about all he cared to see, Phil. He's leading this backpack that's coming off turn 2 right now. He decided it was a little more tense in the front than he's comfortable with right now. Fell back. I think that was, he went down in the trenches to see what it was like and said, I'm going to retreat.
So I think I've got about 40 laps to go. I believe I have enough time to get back there when the time comes. They were getting a little bit too crazy up there for him. He had the strategy to start with. He said, let's go back to that strategy.
Side by side as they go across the start-finish line.
Brendan Gaughan trying to get a lap back.
Remember, that's not for the lead. Brendan is just trying to get back on the lead lap, on the tail end of the lead lap. But he would love to do that in the event that the caution flag was to come out. He would be able to drive all the way back around the racetrack without even getting the free pass.
Brendan Gaughan has help from David Ruderman just behind him. They go down the back stretch. 2 lines forming so far.
Ruderman's pushing toward the front for the first time tonight. We haven't seen that truck get the lead yet.
Whoa, a lot of steering going on. Boy, Brendan Gaughan was really snatching on that steering wheel.
Still bouncing around.
Whoa, Brendan Gaughan.
There he goes, into the wall.
Brendan Gaughan up into the wall, and problems with Mike Skinner as well.
David Rudiman's the first truck to get through there.
Most everybody else made it. Did Brendan have a flat, you think?
I'm not sure. I saw him doing a lot of steering with that truck.
It's a possibility that he got together with another truck and maybe had a flat. Bobby Hamilton says, okay, check that mark off.
Yeah.
Another good decision.
Another great move. He was a champion last year, Michael. He made a lot of good decisions.
And remember also, Phil, he
Good
didn't
move,
practice.
buddy. Even though you did sliders, good move. Let's get her down there and get some tires on her. Pit road's closed. Pit road's closed.
He didn't practice any, Phil. He's got extra tires, just like he had at Darlington last year. We'll have to see if that comes into play.
Yes, the trucks were given 5 full sets of tires for this entire race week. Bobby, he only ran 2 laps of practice and 2 laps qualifying, so you know he has the full complement of 5 sets of tires.
Tough night for Mike Skinner. He brings his Toyota Tundra onto pit road, as does Brendan Gaughan.
A lot of damage on Brendan's truck right there. It looks like the right rear tire is up. He might have had a flat left rear tire or something like that, but looked like he was really loose coming up too. The lap before he crashed looked like he got real loose.
Let's take a look at what just took place to bring out our 4th caution of the night.
See Brendan, he's very, very close to the 5. That's when I looked down, I saw him doing a lot of steering. Just looks like he got a little bit loose there, Michael.
Yeah, I think he just lost the truck. He might have had a flat though, Phil. You never know. Boy, Rudiman slipped through there, and Mike Skinner like the darn foot at the most, and he would have been clear.
Look how close they get together side by side. Now Mike Skinner pulls up a little bit, and watch Brendan now. He's going to start getting a little bit loose. Almost they make a little bit of contact, and then he loses the back end, and then runs up and just clips Mike Skinner.
Looks a whole lot like the Kerry Earnhardt crash, doesn't it, Phil?
Sure
they
does.
Get side by side, and Brendan just can't keep control of his truck.
Coming out of turn 4 onto the tri-oval. Wendy?
David Rudiman is on pit road. They decided to come in even though they pit just 11 laps ago. They're working on the left-hand side. No adjustments for David Rudiman's truck. Let's go to Ray.
Todd Bodine's guys will put tires on this Bowtech number 66 Toyota. They did put a little bit of tape on the front end. He said he was only running about 180 degrees on his water temperature, so a little more tape will give him more downforce on the front. Bodine will lead pit road running 3rd. Rudiman is off 1st, then the 99 of Craven.
A lot of guys elected to stay out there, Phil.
Yeah, we're right now we're being shown as completed 64 laps. That leaves 36 laps. Most of these trucks are really, really close to making it at 36 laps. So I think you may see some of these trucks come in maybe with 1 lap to go when we get ready to restart this race, top off with fuel, and then they'll be good to go to the end.
Let's take another look right along with Mike Skinner, who was involved in this one.
Look at Brendan in there sawing on the wheel. Oh, he just got loose, man.
Yep, watch. Just barely clipped Mike Skinner.
Yeah.
Sometimes this racing is a game of inches, and unfortunately, Mike came.
Watch Terry Cook.
Oh,
it's not over yet.
Dodge Mike Skinner. Good heads-up driving by Terry Cook.
Wendy?
Terry Cook actually meant to pit on this caution. His spotter, Dan Clegg, did not see the caution light at the end of pit road, so miscommunication on Terry Cook and the 10 truck. They did pit on lap 52, remember, and has fuel, but of course that's not going to make them till the end, so they planned on pitting. You could see him duck in with 1 lap to go.
4th caution comes out. Brendan Gaughan, Mike Skinner, Bill Lester, and Ken Weaver involved in this one. We'll be back with more from Florida. In celebration of the 10th anniversary of the Truck Series, we present the toughest NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series moments, made possible by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR. We start with moment 25, the announcement and the first race. On May 14, 1994, Bill France Jr. announced to the media in Sonoma, California that NASCAR had plans to start a third national series, racing trucks. With the France family's ideas in place, on February 5th, 1995, the trucks hit the track for the first ever truck race, then called the Super Truck Series, presented by Craftsman at Phoenix International Raceway. Mike Skinner, driving the number 3 GM Goodwrench Chevy, took the checkered flag, beating former NASCAR Cup Series champion Terry Labonte by 9/100ths of a second. This race set the standard for many more great moments in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
There have been so many great moments in the 10-year history of the Craftsman Truck Series. I cannot wait to see the rest of them.
Ray?
Hey guys, lots of pit stops down here for fuel. We saw Todd Bodine ducked in for fuel only. Also, we saw the number 1 come in for fuel, but Jimmy Spencer actually put tires on that number 2 truck. His crew chief buddy Red Dog Barnes said, look, at lap 66, we'll probably be going back to green around 70. So with 30 to go, we have time to start picking these guys off one at a time. Also, Jack Sprague and his number 16 Chevrolet came in. They got fuel and topped off. So everybody's good to go on fuel from my end down here. But also the 2 got some tires, so we'll see if that helps them in any advantage.
So we're still under our 4th caution. We've had a couple big ones. Rick Crawford's been upside down already. We'll go back to see if we can get this one done. Green, green, green. The spotters are telling the truck drivers as they go across the start-finish line. We're back to racing in the Florida Dodge Dealers 250.
Terry Cook jumps out to the lead. He's got Dennis Setzer, the 46 Chevrolet Silverado, right behind him. That's Robert Hupp in the red hooded truck on the outside. He's still 1 lap down, still trying to get his lap back.
Watch your mirror right here.
Watch Dennis go to the outside.
Outside.
Rudeman elects to go with Dennis. Shoot around the outside of Terry Cook.
He got held down there, though. Dig hard for him.
Ricky Craven not sure if he wants to stay on the bottom of the track or move up. He elects to stay down low and stay in line.
Wow, Rudeman is going to lose several spots. His move didn't work like Setzer's did, but might have called it a little early because now Cook's to the outside of Setzer, picking up the draft that Rudeman is now in.
And he needs to try those moves, Michael, to know what's going to work. Because if he doesn't try them, if he waits till the last lap, then he's not sure what he's got. He's got to try all those moves. Some of them are going to work, some of them are not. He's got to pick the right one at the right time.
This looks a little calmer than what we've seen in the past. Wendy, I believe, is caught up with Mike Skinner.
I do. I have Mike Skinner, who's watching his team go to work on his truck. Mike, what happened out there with you and Brendan Gaughan?
I don't know. I guess Brendan must have got loose under us or something and just got up into us. It's just unfortunate. Our Tundra is pretty good right there. It's a shame.
Another disappointing day in Daytona for Mike Skinner. Remember, he finished in the back last year with an on-track incident as well.
Dennis Setzer out in front of this one now.
I feel this is a much more manageable sized pack. Not going to say they can't still crash, though. They'll get crazy over the next 30 laps in order to try to figure out how to win this race.
Terry Cook right there on board with him. He's currently 3rd. You've got Dennis Setzer on the inside leading a train with Todd Bodine running in the 2nd position. Now Chad Chaff in the 30 truck tries to move Terry Cook up the hill a little bit. Here comes Jimmy Spencer on the inside of the number 2 truck.
20 trucks still on the lead lap. Steve Park at the back in 20th. Dennis Setzer leading this field around Daytona.
That caution was a big break for Ted Musgrave. Remember, he was slow to get up to speed on the previous restart. The caution allowed him to catch up, and right now he is in that lead pack, currently being shown in the 11th position.
Got a truck slow up top in turn 2. That looks like Musgrave.
Ray?
Hey guys, the reason Musgrave wasn't up with that other pack the last time was NASCAR had told him that he did not stop for the paddle at the end of pit road. No one could quite figure that out, but now Musgrave slows down on the backstretch. I don't know. We'll try to get on the radio and see what's wrong.
I saw a little smoke. Maybe he's got a flat tire and he realized that. Let's see if we can take a, there it is, right front tire flight. Looks like he may have a little damage on the right front. There was probably some contact there, Michael, with somebody. That's his spotter, Eddie Thrapp, saying we can come back from this, but he's got to be very, very careful getting to pit road. He knows he's going to lose a lap, so he doesn't want to tear up any more of the sheet metal than he has to get to pit road.
Very discouraging. This is the 100th start for Ted Musgrave in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and he has had problems in the first race of the season. And again, now with a flat tire, he comes down pit road.
Yeah, Ted has raced here 4 times previously. He had a second place finish one time, but the other finishes were all in the 20s.
And now he's on pit road, getting ready to go a lap down.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Ray?
Well, guys, these guys know that they're going to lose the lap here, and they decided to do right side tires only. Not sure now if they shouldn't have done 4, because it's not going to make a big difference. But Musgrave will get back out here behind this pack, just being 1 down. Right side tires for the Mopar Dodge.
Ted Musgrave knows what it's like to be behind the 8 ball at the start of the season. He's never finished out of the top 3 in points, but as we mentioned earlier, he's got 3 finishes of 22nd or worse. The problem for him right now is he's going to be a lap down, yes, but he will not get the free pass more than likely if the caution was to come out, because you see Robert Huffman, he's 4th in line there. He will be the truck that gets the free pass if the caution comes out right away. And there are a couple other trucks that are 1 lap down that will also be ahead of Ted Musgrave, so he needs 2 caution flags to get back on the lead lap.
Phil, you and Michael both mentioned that you thought you had seen a few trucks making moves down on the low side of the track, even going underneath the yellow line. Well, the 2 is getting a black flag. Jimmy Spencer's being shown the black flag for racing below the yellow line.
That's going to be a horrible break for Jimmy Spencer. He probably could heed the black flag and come in and not quite lose a lap, but he's going to lose a lot of track position. Wendy?
Dennis Setzer is typical veteran fashion. He told me before the race he was starting in the back because of that engine change. He said he was just going to wait for all those accidents to happen and he would be out front at the end of the race. Now they did get that penalty for speeding down pit road to avoid the wreck, so they came in at lap 64 and topped off with fuel. They're going to try and make it the rest of the way. Let's check in with Ray.
Well, Wendy, Red Dog Barnes, the crew chief down here, arguing with the NASCAR officials about what Jimmy Spencer did. They're saying he did not advance his position, but this time it'll be a pass-through penalty. He has to go down pit road at speed. That'll be 3rd gear, 3,900 RPM, and here goes Spencer by slowly in his Snap-on Tools Dodge. Now realize the Ultra Motorsports team has been penalized a couple of times tonight for going down pit road too fast for the accident. And as I was starting to tell you, Ted Musgrave had gotten the paddle, or they said that he passed through the paddle, which I can't quite understand because Musgrave, the 16 and the 2 were all leaving pit road together on that one time. But anyway, now Jimmy Spencer gets a yellow line violation. He does the pass through, so both the 1 and the 2 with trouble here tonight.
See if we can take a look at what got Jimmy Spencer his penalty. Look on the left side, you see Jimmy is below the yellow line without a doubt. Now the question is whether he passes that Ford truck right there. He does definitely improve his position, and he did go below the yellow line, Michael. No argument, I don't think.
And I don't think this is taking away his shot at winning the race necessarily. I mean, the caution doesn't fall, he's out of it. But we get a caution flag, he'll remain on the lead lap. He could still win this race, maybe come back from that. But NASCAR's made it clear, if you go under the yellow line and you let off the gas or just slow down and don't improve your position, they won't black flag you. That's a tough call for them to make. And as a driver, you just hope that, you hope they're consistent and they'll black flag people for going under the yellow line if you decide you're not going to go under the yellow line. Take that area away from everybody, not just the competitors that heat it.
Todd Bodine was able to drive around the outside of Dennis Setzer, and he brings a train of trucks with him. Look at Robert Presley right up on the top of the racetrack. Remember, we saw Robert have trouble early on in this race, and here he is in the 2nd position, right on Todd Bodine's bumper.
Yeah, he said, I already hit that wall once. It doesn't really hurt anything.
Looks like he wanted to look to the outside of Todd. Todd moved up in front of him. It looked like he may have got in the back of him a little bit. There's Ricky Craven, the 99 Super Chips Ford, right behind Robert Presley.
Todd Bodine taking over the top spot. Robert Presley on his outside, holding on to 2nd. Ricky Craven, Dennis Setzer, and Terry Cook rounding out the top 5. Tough trucks, tough racing on Speed Channel all year long. Caution has come out for the 5th time at Daytona. Debris on the backstretch. And so we are expecting to see trucks coming down, possibly for their final pit stop of the night. And we will have a sprint to the finish. 20 laps of racing to go.
That's my
artwork.
That was very nice.
What do you call this thing? Telestrator.
Telestrator.
Pit road is closed right now, and Steve Park made his way down pit road, so he will have to restart from the tail end of the longest line.
He was running at the back of the lead draft after some damage in this latest crash. So Jimmy Spencer was able to circle back around, join the field, still can win the race.
He's still in the lead lap. Robert Huffman finally got the free pass, or we will get the free pass, so he will be back on the lead lap and in contention.
Robert Huffman just needs to make sure they follow the rules. You know, if you make a rule violation while getting your free pass, you don't get it. So NASCAR lets you go around and pit with the lap down trucks, not the first time by, unless it's a quickie yellow.
Pit road will be open this time. The green light is already being displayed. Ted Musgrave now is still 1 lap down. He will need another caution flag to get back in contention for the win.
That Super Chips Ford, number 99, looks as though he's going to come down pit road. That truck familiar with leading in the truck series. He led 28 laps, or that truck led 28 laps here a year ago with Carl Edwards behind the wheel.
This will be interesting to see who has any tires left. Wendy, who's got tires? All of them?
Well, Terry Cook definitely has to pit because the last time he was in was lap 52, so he could not make it on fuel. Terry Cook comes to a stop in his stall. He's going to take 4 tires. Crew Chief Rick Gay said, as soon as we get these 4 tires, we can win this race, boys, because we're going to have fresher tires than everybody else. They went down on the track bar, and a major air pressure adjustment for Terry Cook. Ray?
Well, Wendy, they want to loosen up the 99 a little bit, so they're going to put 1 pound of air in the right rear. Jeremy Murphy does the front tires. Cale Uphoff is on the rear tires. Chris Ellis is the jack man, and they have just a little bit of a hang-up, but Craven will get away here. No time lost. And we also see Terry Cook in the 10 and 46 will be behind the number 99. Now, a few guys did stay out there, but Ricky said he thinks it's worth it. With this many laps remaining, he said tires will be worth it.
Bobby Hamilton, that Lufkin Tools number 04.
Look at there, Phil. See on the back of this car or truck? Those
sticker
are
tires.
Sticker tires.
There's nothing a driver likes better than hearing that paper flap from those labels.
And I'm going to guarantee you, not many other people have any sticker tires. Old Bobby took care of his stuff during practice. He might just pull those belts down real tight right now and get up in the middle of all this mess.
You know, I wondered at the time if that was a smart move, not practicing, because the racetrack is always a little bit different after the 24-hour race. There's so much rubber and oil and everything on the racetrack. But Bobby elected not to do any practicing. He said he did so much practicing at Talladega over the winter and here at Daytona. He knew what he had. He felt like he didn't need to do it.
Craftsman's always on the cutting edge of technology when it comes to tools. Today we want to spotlight another important piece of equipment that Craftsman makes available to all of us in the Craftsman Tool Tech. Ray?
Well, thank you, Rick. You know, Craftsman has these ratcheting boxed end wrenches that I really, really like. If you're trying to do some work with these things, this thing moves around on the inside as a ratchet. Now, we've shown you these tools before. They work really well. I've got about 3 sets of these back at home. But here's what's really great. They've decided to add an extra socket to go inside the ratcheting part. Now, watch this. This thing goes right in there, snaps in, and it's a socket into your ratchet. Now, why is this better than a regular set of ratchets? Well, check this out. If you've got a regular ratchet, this area right here sticks down a long ways. Well, look how much less room this one takes up. So you get a lot more clearance with the smaller set of ratchets. But this thing still works great, and you can turn it around just like you would anytime. It's a ratchet set, and it gives you a lot better clearance.
Well, we'd like to welcome our men and women in uniform serving around the world and watching tonight's race on AFN, the American Forces Network. Thanks for all you do. We hope you're enjoying tonight's telecast wherever you're stationed. And remember, America stands behind you every step of the way. Pace truck bringing the field back toward the start-finish line, and a smoker coming out of turn 4.
Park? Is that Steve Park?
Problems continuing for the Orleans Dodge of Steve Park.
He was definitely smoking coming off turn number 4. You see a lot of damage to the front of that truck that he got when Brennan Gaughan, his teammate, caused that accident coming off turn number 4. Looks like he's going to make the hard left turn into the garage area.
Chances are it might have overheated and done some damage to the engine. You saw a lot of tape on the front. So this is a guy we haven't even said a word about all night. Quiet and quietly worked his way into contention here as we're getting ready to go back racing with 17 laps to go.
David's run every race here at Daytona. We hear the spotter tell him they're going to call off this restart. David's run every race here of the 5, and he's got 3 finishes of 34th or worse. He would just love to get out of here with a top 10 finish.
And so as we stay under caution, we'll break away for a few messages and we'll be right back. Coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Florida Dodge Dealers 250 on Speed Channels, brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. Dodge. By Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And by Netscape, low-cost internet service Netscape, just the net you need. We're back underway for the Florida Dodge Dealers 250. Out in front, Robert Presley has won this race before. He's familiar with the top spot.
Trying to become the only repeat winner here at Daytona.
He's got a whole bunch of guys right behind him that will try to prevent him from doing that.
He's got 3 Toyotas lined up behind him right now. Todd Bodine, Chad Chapin, and David Rudiman.
Rough ride for Todd Bodine. Ray?
Guys, realize the 30 that's right there with the 66 is the truck that Todd drove last year. So he said, will Chad help me out, guys? They said, absolutely. We got a group of Toyotas here, and we're going to stick together. These 3 trucks plan on running together for another 10 or 12 laps, and then they're going to shoot to the front and try to keep those 3 in line, 66, 30, and 17. If they stick together, they believe they can shoot to the front. Then they said, at lap 3 to go, it's any man's game.
Whew. Look at just behind David Rudiman. That's the 13 of Tracy Hines. Again, he qualified fairly well. He was qualified in 5th position and currently holds on to that spot.
Just got passed by Ricky Craven for the 5th position. There goes Terry Cook. We're getting reports that Ricky Craven and Terry Cook are talking about working together, and they would rather work the bottom of the racetrack, but 2-4 is going to try to work together.
Riding along with Terry Cook just in front of him, Ricky Craven.
Bobby Hamilton has lined up on the outside behind David Starr. He's making his presence in the front known.
We're inside of 15 laps to go, Michael. There's no more laying back. We've got to put all the cards on the table.
Robert Presley's 2 finishes in this race, a 1st and a 3rd. So he has a great record at this track.
What about Craven? He's got on the gas. Last 2 laps, he's driven all the way up to the, will be 3rd when he exits turn 4. There he is into the inside of Robert Presley.
He's got a lot of experience here at Daytona. He finished 3rd in the Daytona 500 back a few years ago.
Here he comes to the outside now. Made passes to the inside, now goes to the outside.
Get a run at you now, going up behind him.
Yeah, Terry Cook's coming with him. The 2 Fords are going to stay together.
He'll probably regret that move. That inside line just seems to be really where you need to be, Phil. He got to the outside, but then Rudiman went the other way, drove up behind the other Toyota. Now those guys are trying to get the 3 Toyotas lined up and go.
They've got a bunch of help now on the outside. Look at all the line. You got 2 wide racing back about 10 rows.
Robert Presley had tried the outside line. He's dropped all the way back, being shown in 7th position.
We've got 4 Toyotas now together on the bottom of the racetrack. The 23 Mikasugi Indian Gaming Resort Toyota. Johnny Benson joins that pack.
Say that again real fast.
I couldn't do it, I don't think.
I was pretty impressed he even made it through that one. Rudiman's truck looked loose to me. Looked like he got sideways coming off turn 2 over there.
I watched him come off turn 4 a couple laps ago, and it looked like he got sideways.
Bobby Hamilton way high on the outside of the track.
He just drove right around Terry Cook. There's Jimmy Spencer, the 2 truck, as you mentioned. He's still in contention to win this race. He didn't lose that lap, even with that penalty for driving and passing below the yellow line.
You got to figure that Bobby, oh, wow, he squeezes to the outside of Craven. You got to figure his tires at least have a...
Whoa, Tracy Hines sideways.
Tracy Hines trying to keep it off the track. He's able to keep it off the track, puts it into the infield.
No caution.
Green flag stays out. And so they continue to race as they come across the start-finish line.
Where'd Tracy go?
Inside of 10 laps remaining in the Florida Dodge Dealers 250. Todd Bodine out in front of Chad Chaffin, David Rudiman, Johnny Benson, and Dennis Setzer.
Tracy Hines has got underway. Would probably keep us in the green. If I was him, I think I would have stayed there until we got a caution flag. Try to get back in the pits and get me 4 tires, but he got back on. We're going to stay under green.
Whoa, Todd Bodine making a hard move out front. Is he blocking already?
Oh, he's been blocking. Everybody's blocking already.
That's this kind of racing, Rick. There's no way you can avoid doing some blocking here. But the way these trucks are, the hole they punch in the air, you've got to be able to block these trucks to try to keep some semblance of reality here.
Caution has come out now.
Tracy Hines
trying to get down pit road, was not able to do it.
Got a flat left rear or what? Or is the track bar broke? Something ain't right.
I'm not sure what happened. He's got definitely has a flat left rear tire. Maybe he just realized that he wasn't going to get a caution flag and he was going to lose so much time.
4,000, come on.
What about Ted Musgrave?
Ted Musgrave's going to get the free pass here.
Oh, 10 to go. Did it come out with?
Boy, I don't know.
How's that work?
There's no free pass in the last 10 laps. We have completed 90 laps.
I'm going to guess he's not going to get it.
I would think he would not get it.
Let's look at why we're under caution.
Uh-oh. Think he did that on purpose?
I'm not sure. See the lead pack go by on the outside.
Go, guys, go, go, go. Push them off. There you go.
Unfortunately, Tracy lost a lap as you saw the lead pack go by while he was spinning at the entrance to pit road. We need to get clarification to see if Ted Musgrave will not get the free pass because we are inside 10 laps to go.
Continuing research and development of Toyota in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series has been very exciting to watch. Let's take a closer look in this week's Toyota Spotlight. Todd Bodine out in front. You see the Toyota's current positions.
Michael, it's only been 1 year since this foreign manufacturer Toyota came into this series. They had such a great run last year. They finished second with Travis Quabble in this race. Now they have several Toyotas up in the top 10. And we are being told that Ted Musgrave will get the free pass. One of the top Toyotas, Johnny Benson, is on pit road. Johnny was up in the top 5. Wendy.
Crew Chief Greg Ely said they cannot make it on fuel, so they decided to come in with 9 laps to go, take 4 fresh tires, but they are putting scuffs on, as you can see, and top it off with fuel. Johnny Benson will be down and away.
I'd pick Todd. I'd pick Todd. He's leading.
Inside of 10 laps, we will restart in a single file line.
In case you're wondering what I was talking about at home. We're going to talk to somebody, and I think we ought to pick Todd. He's leading the race. He's having to block and go crazy. We're going to get a word from him if we can.
Season will continue next Friday live from Fontana. Race 2 of 25 takes place at the 2-mile California Speedway. The 10th anniversary season continues only on Speed Channel. 10 Top next Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Let's see if we can get a hold of Todd Bodine here. Todd Bodine, Phil Parsons, can you hear me?
I got you, Philzy.
Todd, you're inside of 10 laps to go. You got a couple Toyota buddies behind you there. You lined up with 4 of them. Now you've got your old truck that Chad Chapin's driving. Can you guys hold off this wild group of animals here?
Well, I think these Tundra's got something for them. Problem is, Chad's here to win this race too. And, if he'd stay in line and run around the bottom with me, that's our best shot. But he's here to win this race for Toyota, just like I am. And I tell you, we got a great truck, and we're going to try to hold them off. It's going to be tough. They're pretty tough back there. The one we got to watch is Spencer. He's, Jimmy's reputation. He's pretty tough when it comes to this stuff.
He sure is. He almost got a lap down. He got penalized for running below the yellow line there. Looks like it's been pretty wild out there. How does it look from your view?
Even wilder. I'll tell you, these trucks are a handful compared to a car. The aerodynamics just isn't as good. They really get sucked around easy and not a lot of downforce, so they tend to bounce a little bit more through the bumps. But Tony Burr, my crew chief's done a great job. The truck wasn't real good in the beginning. He's done a lot of adjustments. The crew's done a great job on pit road. And we'll just have to see. It's just a shootout here now.
All right, Todd, you got one to go. Good luck, buddy.
Thanks, Billy.
Robert Presley in for more work on that number 59.
I'm okay with Johnny Benson's decision here, Phil, to get 4 tires. I mean, we saw Robert Presley drive from a pack that was a couple, 3 seconds behind the lead group and up into the middle of them in just a matter of 4 or 5 laps. He's going to have about 6 laps of full speed racing to get from about 20th position up to the lead. Ray, can he make it, or what's going on your end?
Well, he can, Michael, but the 99 was the big dilemma here. Ricky Craven just came on the radio and said, Mike, I've got a tire going down, talking to his crew chief, Mike Beam, and Mike said, well, hit pit road. We can't take a chance. He said, well, it feels low anyway. And Mike says, well, we did lower the air pressure the last time you pitted. So he said, well, I'm coming. They all got up on the wall. Ricky curved back out, stayed out, and didn't pit. We heard the same thing from Jack Sprague just a few minutes ago. So these guys really trying to make up the decision, is it worth it giving up that track position to come in and get tires? Well, Ricky decided not to. Jack Sprague decided not to.
So strategy of, I think it might be going low, but we're just going to try to run this race. We're inside of 8 laps to go. Dennis Setzer currently in 3rd position. Todd Bodine, Chad Chaffin in front of him. Pace truck about to come off the track.
We heard Todd Bodine said he was really worried about that wild card, Jimmy Spencer. Jimmy's all the way back up into the 4th position.
19 trucks on the lead lap. Todd Bodine leads them to the green flag. We're back underway with a Florida Dodge Dealers 250.
This is going to be tense, fellas. A lot of guys are going to make their way to the front before this deal is over.
This is as strung out as they've been this entire race. Look at, see 3 trucks, 4 trucks. Now they're getting back together.
They're going to be all wadded up by the time they get back over here. Look at them. Here comes Spencer to the outside. Here comes Craven to the outside. Bobby Hamilton up into the lead pack. Spencer going for 2nd.
Side by side, battling for the 2nd position. Chad Chaffin on the inside. Jimmy Spencer on the outside. Todd Bodine leads him out of turn 4 into the front stretch.
Ken says, who do I stay in front of?
This is going to be hectic over the next 6 laps. Can they keep it together? Can they keep all these trucks pointed in the right direction, Phil?
Remember, we will have a green-white checker if the caution was to come out late in this race. We will try to finish this race under green.
Bobby Hamilton has impressed us all with his strategy, stuck to his game plan, and now here he is getting ready to battle for the win at Daytona.
Got a side-by-side battle for the lead. Whoa, whoa!
Problems early on. Chad Chaffin gets spun around and upside down. Chaffin back onto his wheels, and we were on board with Dennis Setzer.
Dennis made some contact. Looks like he was trying to bump draft him, and he got Chad turned around. There's Terry Cook after such a great effort. He was involved in that action a little bit. Another wild ride for Chad Chaffin, though, much like Rick Crawford's earlier today.
Look who's leading.
Jimmy Spencer comes by, takes the lead at the start-finish line.
Now, he came across the start-finish line. We're not sure if he was scored when that caution came out as the leader. We'll find out. NASCAR will put them in order.
Yeah, there are 18 loops around this racetrack. When the caution comes out, you're frozen right there. NASCAR goes back and looks at where you were on the at the loops. Look at Chad. He's got less damage than Rick Crawford had when he turned over.
How far did he turn over?
When he went out of view, he was way up in the air.
And it was pointed towards the ground.
See, he's got a left front tire rub right there.
It looks like the left on TV. Get the guidance on the left sides first, guys. Just left and get the clearance on the left front tire.
Let's take a look.
Let's see what happened. Looks like bump drafting might be. Yeah, Dennis gave him a little shot. Wow.
Wow, completely over. Here goes Terry. Boy, Terry had a wild ride through the grass. He was fortunate that his truck stayed down. You see the roof flap just deploy.
Take another look at that one.
Bam, Dennis right there. Give him a little shot in the back, and turned Chad's truck around and over, by the way.
Wow, what a view that was.
And hit on the left front wheel, so I'm sure some suspension damage to that. Ray?
Well, guys, they believe that the 30 truck can stay on the lead lap here. They've got the right side tires on, going to the left side here, checking the thing over to make sure everything's okay. They're listening to the spotter. He's got his eye on where the field is coming around, and they think they're going to be able to stay on the lead lap.
They're going to check underneath on the left side. The official was pointing to the left front tire or wheel, making sure that the suspension was okay.
Yeah, I would say, man, that they have to have something torn apart underneath there when they feel.
Somebody pour some oil in the tank. Get a couple quarts of oil in it. We might only lose one lap here.
Let's see if we can take another look at this crash. You see he's got a busted oil line. They're talking about bypassing oil. Here they are coming off turn number 2. See, Dennis is going to get in the back of Chad. You see Chad, it pushes him a little bit sideways. Then Dennis actually turns him around after Chad comes back to the bottom of the racetrack, and way up in the air he goes.
Here comes Terry Cook joining them for a slide through the grass.
It's like Robert Huffman might have gotten the back of Terry Cook. I see some damage to the front of that truck.
Oh, and it was a pilot behind him.
Yeah, once that bump drafting started going crazy, then they just bunched up from behind. Rudeman had nowhere to go, bumped into the 46. Just a good idea gone bad when the bump drafting that they were doing on the back straightaway knocked the 30 truck sideways.
We ride along with Dennis Spencer.
Bang, just hit him and got it wiggling. Now I bet you Dennis has hit somebody like that all night long and the truck never moved. You know, you don't know which way Chad had his wheels pointed, and Dennis must have hit him right at the wrong time. Dennis would never do something like that unless he had it calculated out, and for some reason it went wrong.
It looked like he hit him pretty square, but you know, these trucks are pretty light in the rear end right now. A lot of these trucks are complaining about being loose, but this slow motion here, you see he looks like he hits him pretty square, but it looks like his bumper rides up underneath the back bumper of Chad Chaffin, and that may be why it turned him around. It might have picked the rear wheels off the ground, Michael. And then all 4 wheels were off the ground.
Yeah, it definitely eventually picked him off, didn't it?
He hit that left front very hard, so they're still checking on the suspension of that one. Right?
Well, Rick, it's been a wild night for Jimmy Spencer and Buddy Red Dog Barnes. Now, listen, here's what happened so far. You tried to leave the pit, you bent a wheel, then you got called for coming down pit road too fast, and then a red line or yellow line violation. Other than that, guess what? You're the leader.
Yeah, we are leading, and you forgot we didn't have the helmet in the truck. We had a little problem last night during qualifying with the throttle linkage. I got in the truck myself today. I missed the driver's meeting, fixed the thing, and still got a couple of laps to go here. Jimmy's done a good job. We had a game plan to try to stay out of trouble. We tested awful hard on this truck over the winter to get it where it was right when it was time, and right now it's time.
I'll tell you what, it has been a wild night here for the Snap-on guys. All these different things happening, but they're up front when it matters.
The first time Speed Channel broadcast the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series was 2 years ago in an amazing finish that took place in 2003. It's all in his spotters and Rick Crawford's hand.
There I am, still leading the race. Daytona 250 with a green and white checker finish.
It's no more chess, it's no more mind games, it's a shootout.
I had no idea who was running 3rd to 36.
Presley dodging to the high side. Crawford goes down low. He tries to make a pass as they're coming to the line. It's Rick Crawford making the pass, and Crawford wins the Daytona 250.
Wayne Alton said, "Did you realize what kind of finish this was?" I have no idea. I knew I'd won the race. I think I beat Robert Presley by about that far. He said, "Nope, you beat Travis Quappo by about that far." Travis, where was he at? Man, what a finish. It'll always stick.
Fantastic finishes at Daytona, and we expect nothing less tonight. We're under caution because of a wild ride that Chad Chaffin had. Take a look at the number 30.
Just a couple of laps from having a shot at winning at Daytona, and then wound up flipping over, flipping out. Took Setzer with him. Terry Cook damaged as well.
Yeah, Robert Presley also took a ride like that a number of years ago in a Daytona 500. We've had a few trucks get upside down on the backstretch. You remember any of those, Michael?
Here we go.
Green flag flying.
Green, white checker.
2 laps, 5 miles remaining in the Florida Dodge Dealers 250.
What? Look at Bobby Hamilton. Look to the inside of Ricky Craven.
Hamilton with a good run gets by Ricky Craven. They're lined up. Jimmy Spencer, Todd Bodine, Bobby Hamilton.
Look at Bobby move to the inside of Todd Bodine. They're lining up behind him. Matt Craftsman, what a great run he has going in the 88 truck.
Jimmy Spencer getting out there a little bit far. They're going to be able to get a run on him.
Oh, it's not over. Bobby Hamilton unable to clear Todd Bodine until just now.
Looks like he's got him cleared now. Look
Here comes Ricky Craven back on the outside.
Way on the outside.
Almost into the wall. They're dicing and dancing again as they cross the start finish. And Bobby Hamilton makes the pass. And problems right as they go across the start finish line. Another big crash as they go across the start finish line, and the white flag had come out as they cross the start finish line. That will mean, I believe, Bobby Hamilton will win the Florida Dodge Dealers 250.
I think you're exactly right. The field is automatically frozen when the caution flag comes out, and it looked like Bobby Hamilton had taken the lead.
Scoring wise, Jimmy Spencer is just ahead of Bobby Hamilton on the scoring charts. Now we have to wait.
That may have been how they came across the start-finish line, but Bobby Hamilton passed Jimmy Spencer after the start-finish line, and they were by the start-finish line when the accident happened.
We'll have to find out from NASCAR when the caution came out and where Bobby Hamilton and Jimmy Spencer were at. Jimmy Spencer's son anxious to find out. Did his father just win the Florida Dodge Dealers 250, or will he be relegated to second?
This is tense.
Bobby Hamilton just riding behind Jimmy Spencer.
And we have to remember there are trucks that have come to a stop just inside of turn number 1. There was an accident that took place just as the pack was going by the start-finish line. Checkered flag flies. We'll find out if it's Jimmy Spencer or Bobby Hamilton.
Wow, Bobby Hamilton was aggressive on that last lap, wasn't he?
Well, he sure was. He drove to the outside.
Ultra Motorsports celebrating.
I don't think we know the answer to this question yet, Rick.
Take another look at what took place as they went across the start-finish line. It was Jimmy Spencer in front of Bobby Hamilton by just about a half of a tenth of a second.
Yeah, that's not official. Now, they may have been celebrating, but we don't know who's going to be credited with this win.
What happened to Matt Craftsman?
Matt Craftsman gets on the inside.
Got loose and just turns right back up into this pack.
It's going to hit David Ruderman in the 17 truck. There's Jack Sprague. He gets hit into the outside wall.
And you see Bobby Hamilton and Jimmy Spencer were just side by side when that was all taking place.
Whatever NASCAR calls it won't be a mistake. They were
within 3 or 4 feet anyway, so it can go either way.
What happened?
Take another look. Looks like Matt just got a little bit loose. I don't think there was any contact from David Ruderman. Boy, they made some hard contact in the outside wall. Thank goodness for the safer barriers, Michael.
Well, when they had the crash, when the crash started, Spencer was ahead. But when does NASCAR, when they flip the light on, when they throw the flag, when does it happen? How do we know who won the race right now?
That is a uniform process that takes place. It is all done up in the press box. NASCAR has a button. And when the caution needs to come out, that button is pushed. And right when that button is pushed, the computer freezes the field according to the last loop that the trucks went across.
Well, I'm going to guess Spencer won then. He had a bit of an advantage on him when the wreck was happening. So if they got the button pushed while the wreck was happening, which I know they did, I think maybe Spencer won.
And the most recent loop would have more than likely been the start-finish line. And Jimmy Spencer was ahead at the start-finish line.
As you mentioned, Phil, there are 18 loops around this 2.5-mile tri-oval. And so depending upon how they're spaced out around this track, it's the last loop that they crossed. More than likely, it would be the start-finish line. Take one more look at this. Jimmy Spencer wanting to celebrate, celebrating.
He is celebrating. They think they've won the race, and I would think that too. We'll see what happens. Bobby makes a great move to get up beside Jimmy. Matt,
I think Jimmy's definitely going to lead Jimmy's ahead at the start-finish line. Now the crash starts. We're looking at the flag stand. We don't see a yellow flag yet, but it's when the button is pushed to turn the yellow lights on and to notify the flag man that he's supposed to put out the caution flag. A lot of damage to a lot of trucks. See the white flag being displayed.
Well, he's going to display it for a while. It would take his reaction to change flags would take way longer than it would to push a button to turn on the lights.
If it was strictly on when the flagman got the yellow flag out, then Bobby Hamilton would be the winner of the race. But it's not that anymore. In the control tower, NASCAR pushes a button that displays the caution lights around the racetrack and locks the scoring loops down. And that's how they determine who is ahead of who at the most recent scoring loop.
Jimmy Spencer celebrating.
I don't blame him. I'd celebrate too.
This would be win number 2 for Jimmy Spencer in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. He is going to run the entire season in the Truck Series in that snap-on number 2.
He won in this very truck a couple years ago at Loudon, New Hampshire. And this truck with Ultra Motorsports won this race, the inaugural race back in 2000 with Mike Wallace.
Fans were seeing fireworks flying above the track. We saw a lot of fireworks taking place on the track tonight. Let's go down trackside to Wendy.
Bobby Hamilton is just discussing what happened at the end of the race. Did you think he won?
Well, I mean, they got footage of it, and they're supposed to use the footage. I don't know when the flag fell, but the light should have come on with the flag, and I was ahead of them when the light come on, because I looked in the mirror, I seen smoke. I was right down there at the end of pit road, the light come on, and I was a half a truck ahead of him. So that's where the timing line is, so I don't ever say nothing. They're going to have to show me that one.
All right, Bobby Hamilton a little bit upset at the finish of this race.
We're getting reports that NASCAR is reviewing the video right now. It may not be a done deal.
How come it always turns out like this?
This is drama.
That's exactly what this is. This is Daytona drama. It doesn't get any better.
Now, obviously, the trucks are crashing right there. And about right now, Bobby Hamilton, I think, takes the lead. We can't see that from right there. Let's see if we can watch from on board one of the trucks. This is Ted Musgrave's truck. You see the accident. Ted's going to miss this accident. Barely. Now watch it. Here's the light went on.
We saw the yellow light come on just about the time Ted Musgrave got to the yellow light. Now again, they can look at video, but they're going to go by who was in the lead when they crossed the final scoring stripe.
On the last lap now, they review a video, and they can change things on the last lap by virtue of looking at the video. Any other lap, any other dispute during the race, I think they would strictly go by the scoring loops.
Now, if you remember, in 2003, we had a similar situation to this, trying to figure out who the champion was.
Yeah. You know, Jimmy Spencer is in victory lane right now. But I'm telling you, he has not been declared the winner yet. NASCAR has not told us yet that Jimmy Spencer won this race.
And one thing about Bobby Hamilton, he said he was ahead of him when the lights come on. Well, that might be true. He still might have been behind him when they crossed the last scoring loop. So he might be correct in saying, I was ahead when I saw the lights come on. They might have already been past the scoring loop that officially put Jimmy Spencer ahead.
Let's go down to Ray.
All right, Jimmy Spencer's got to stay in the truck here as Red Dog Barnes' crew chief talks to him. Stand by for 1 second, because guess what? They're still reviewing video. I know this is crazy. It's not official yet, but let me tell you something. When they do announce it, if it's you, you're sitting in victory lane at Daytona.
I believe I won the race. I saw the accident happening behind me and stuff, and you know, I did not appreciate what Bobby did to me. He turned me sideways like that, and but that's life. He was trying to win a race too, but it's going to be a long year. And he's got a tough son of a bee driving this Team ASE Dodge. He is, be careful. He ain't messing with some pump.
And it was a long day. Tell me about all the crazy things happened. No helmet to get the thing started. Then, you know, speeding down pit road. I mean, a bent wheel trying to get out. This has been a wacky day.
It's really been a weird day, you know, and we got in a little altercation on pit road and knocked the toe, not knocked the toe, but bent the wheel and got plastic on the grill. The thing ran up to 240 degrees. Just had a really, really tough day, but you know, all them Team ASE technicians out there support this team for year in and year out. Ron Weiner and his guys. Snap on 85th anniversary. You know, this is going to be an awesome year for Team ASE and Jimmy Smith and myself and Teddy Musgrave. I'm just excited about being on board this truck, and I believe I won this race. I know that.
Well, we're going to check on it, so do me a favor. Sit right there, and we'll let you know in just a second.
Ray, hold on 1 second. We're going to take another look at this. We're going to look from a camera that's up above, and you will be able to see when the yellow light comes on, Bobby Hamilton is in front of Jimmy Spencer.
I think that's the yellow lights right there, Michael. See if we can see him go on here. Bobby's definitely ahead of him. There's a yellow light coming. I'm telling you, to me, that would be irrefutable proof that Bobby Hamilton would win this race.
Not if
any means necessary is what NASCAR has told us they will try to determine the winner of the race.
On the last lap, they will use video or any means necessary to try to determine who wins the race. Now, any other lap to settle disputes, they just go to the scoring loop. But they told us that any means necessary they will try to use and determine who wins this race.
We may see someone going to victory lane to push the 2 truck out of victory lane and push the 04 of Bobby Hamilton into victory lane. Look at Bobby Hamilton.
He's celebrating right now, Rick.
Is that celebration or frustration? Let's go down to Wendy.
Bobby Hamilton just asked, can I drive it to victory lane now? Congratulations.
Like I said, it's I believe in the system. I wouldn't accuse nobody of nothing. I said, I sure hope they check that because I'm real aware of what goes on. And I mean, I nosed out ahead of him. He blocked me. I got to run on the outside, and I got ahead of him. And the lights come on, and I was ahead of him when the lights come on. That don't necessarily mean anything. And I said, I'm going to stay calm about this because they've always been real fair with it in the past. But I'm just proud for this is Lufkin WIS Pro Series, their first race with us, and Bailey's first race with us. I wish Casey hadn't gotten that crash, but they're going to be a great partner of ours. A good night for Dodge, no matter how it turns out. So it's a cool night. So I hope Chase is okay and Casey's okay. And Deborah done a heck of a job tonight with the Easy Care Dodge. I mean, I'm just proud of BHR as a whole.
For our first night in the 2005 season, have you ever experienced such an ending?
This is what NASCAR racing's all about, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
All right, Bobby Hamilton will surely take this victory in Daytona. Let's check in with Ray.
All right, well, Jimmy Spencer stays in the seat here. He was just about to climb out, and he is getting the official word. Guess what? You're second today, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I can't believe that. That's hard to believe.
Unbelievable. This is just like Homestead whenever we didn't know for sure who the champion was at the end of 2003. They're going to fire up the Snap-on ASE Dodge, and they're going to back it up. Here goes Jimmy Spencer. The crew is back here, and everyone says, well, I can't believe it. That's just the word down here in victory lane. So Jimmy Spencer will leave, and I believe they'll push over Bobby Hamilton's 04 truck, and there'll be a very strange victory celebration here at Daytona.
Well, Michael, I'm sorry, Rick.
From elation to frustration for Jimmy Spencer. We take one more look at this. Bobby Hamilton ducking to the inside, then going to the outside. He's going to make the pass on Jimmy Spencer just as the yellow light will come on, and you will be able to see it right here.
Remember, watch for the yellow light. That's the key. Bobby Hamilton now is already ahead. There's the yellow lights right there. Watch him. Watch when the yellow light comes on right now. And look, Bobby Hamilton has about a half a truck length on Jimmy Spencer.
We really have to commend NASCAR. They have gone to every angle to find out who won this race.
This is Todd Bodine's onboard. You see Bobby Hamilton pull ahead, and there is the caution light came out just as Todd Bodine got to it. Whew.
Bobby Hamilton in his 75th start takes his 9th career NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and continues to win in the Truck Series. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is presented by Craftsman. Let's go back down to victory lane and Ray Dunlap.
Well, here comes Bobby Hamilton out of this race truck. They call the chassis freak. Joe Ruttman drove it to victory lane here. Robert Presley drove it to victory lane, and Bobby Hamilton finally drove it to victory lane. What an unbelievable day.
I tell you what, I mean, we elected to stay at the back of the same, run it 2 laps in practice, and had a good test down here. Just so much support. We got new people on this year. Clifty Farms come on with us. Lufkin with the Pro Series, the WIS Pro Series. Bailey's family coming on. It's just a huge night for BHR, and we used to be real strong here at Daytona. I got a little concerned. That turned out pretty nice.
Now, Jimmy Spencer was here a little earlier. He thought he was the winner, and he came in here and he said he wasn't very happy about the way you drove him at the end. He said, you can't push that punk around.
Well, he cut down on me. He's lucky I didn't turn him around. He's lucky he was in a Dodge. But Jimmy's just tough. You come to the last lap, and that's sort of just the way it is. I mean, I think the world of Jimmy, and he knows I wouldn't take him out, but I got my nose up under and had to let out the gas. It was so bad, so I said, okay, I'll just go the other side.
You've watched your truck in victory lane here a couple times, but now you get to drive it in. How much better is that?
It's pretty cool. It feels real good. Great racetrack. I've always loved coming here. I love this kind of racing. Had a blast in the Crown Royal IROC Series night, finished third in that, so got the Busch race tomorrow, see what happens there, see if we can pull a decent finish out, and I'm going to sit back and drink a cold one and watch the Daytona 500 in a Dodge Suite.
All right, congratulations. Enjoy victory lane. Bobby Hamilton gets win number 9 for BHR.
A little bit of controversy between 1 and 2, but we do know for sure that Todd Bodine finished third. And Todd, what an amazing night for you, because 30 days ago, this truck did not even exist.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Wendy. 30 days ago, this wasn't a team. You know, with Toyota's help, Tony Furr, the crew chief, Tom Eldridge, the truck owner, Gary Showalter, the whole crew. 30 days ago, we didn't have anything. Right now, we got 3 trucks completed, another one about done. It's been pretty incredible to come here and finish third at Daytona, and I'm proud to be the first Toyota in line. I'm sorry, Ted, I got my own sponsors, bud. But no, we're proud to be the first Toyota. Proud to represent them every week, and looking forward to a great year. It's a great race team. You know, Tony Furr's new at this truck racing, and he's got a little bit to learn, but man, he did a great job tonight. The truck was terrible loose to begin with, just absolutely terrible, and he kept adjusting it, got it good, got it to where I could drive it underneath people. These trucks are hard to drive, I'll tell you. But it was a lot of fun, and I want to say hi to my daughter at home, Ashlyn. Love you, baby.
Todd Bodine comes home third and keeps the nose clean all night long. Rick?
Thank you, Wendy. Well, there's the scoring poll, and it's actually not correct, because the 04 should be on top, and the 04 is in victory lane. Bobby Hamilton celebrating win number 9 in his career. Lufkin Dodge in victory lane. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series post-race show is brought to you by Craftsman, celebrating 10 years tough in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. While we went away to break, we had mentioned that the scoring pylon was, well, incorrect. Well, they corrected that. Bobby Hamilton in the 04 going to the top of the poll. Jimmy Spencer moving down. Bobby Hamilton, our reigning champion, stays right on top of the points list as he gets the first victory of 2005. Wendy?
Ricky Craven and Ted Musgrave come home 4th and 5th respectively. Ricky and Ted both started in the back tonight, but quickly made your way up to the front. Ricky, what a wild night.
It was a lot of fun. You know, it's interesting when you've done this as long as I have, or as long as Ted has, you make a few friends, and Ted and I hung out for a couple of days, made a little strategy, and then there were times where we were able to work together, and that's kind of cool the way it ended up.
Congratulations to you and your wife Kathleen on your 3rd child, Lydia. If we move over to Ted Musgrave, Ted, what a great start to your season. You're starting off where you left off.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, like I say, Daytona has not been very good for the Mopar truck the last 2 years, so our strategy was to start near the back, kind of hang in there a while. But as it shuffled up, you know, I had to get going in the beginning of the race, and I knew my truck was able to get up there. I got up there for a while, said to the guys, man, we got a winning truck. Let's get in the back and just ride along. Rode along until the last pit stop there, and then Jimmy and I hooked up and starting to make my move, and I blew a right front tire. So I couldn't help Jimmy no more, and I had to kind of suffer myself. Got my lap back, got 5th, so we had a winning truck, but it just didn't come up that way. So we're pretty happy, don't get me wrong. Top 5, momentum for 2005.
Hey, a bittersweet night for Jimmy Spencer, but good for Ultra Motorsports as they take home 2 top 5s. Rick?
Unofficial results, and we're pretty confident about this. Bobby Hamilton up on top, Jimmy Spencer coming home 2nd. Todd Bodine with a great run. You see a couple names on here that we don't normally see in the top 10. Great runs for Ken Weaver, Brad Keselowski, and Wayne Edwards.
All career best for all 3 of those drivers. They stayed out of trouble. They got to the end of the race there. What a terrific job all 3 of those guys did.
Problems with Matt Crafton, David Rudeman there at the end of the race. That's why they dropped back. They were up in the top 5, 6, 7 when that accident took place.
Our pole sitter, Kerry Earnhardt, unfortunately got involved in another accident. Finishes in the 35th position. Rick Crawford takes a wild ride and finishes 36th.
Tough speed weeks for Todd Cleaver.
I bet he's going to be glad to get out of here.
Right here, you see Jimmy Spencer on the inside, Bobby Hamilton on the outside. They cross the start-finish line. Jimmy Spencer's in front. But when the caution comes out, it is Bobby Hamilton that is out in front of Jimmy Spencer and wins the first race of 2005. Our next race from Fontana, California, at the California Speedway, the American Racing Wheels 200. That's Friday night, 9 p.m. The Truck Series will continue the drama in 1 week.
I don't see how on earth it could be better than this, Michael, but you never know.
I love Bobby Hamilton's plan. You can call him a sissy for riding at the back if you want, but he looked like Evel Knievel those last 3 or 4 laps. He was jumping and slipping and sliding everywhere and wound up in victory lane.
Bobby Hamilton, 2004 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the first owner-driver champion in this series. And now he can add his name to winners at Daytona International Speedway, the mecca of motorsports. It started off as a rough ride for Rick Crawford, but he wasn't the only one that got upside down. A couple times over, we saw Chad Chapman doing the same as he rolled over going down the back stretch. The Craftsman Truck Series is 10 years tough, starting in 2005.